Hi, comic book fans, both old and new. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
This is the live show we do in ComicPop Returns, part of the ComicPop family of channels that now includes 3 different channels. We are going to be talking, of course, about Black Adam. But before we do that, we're going to jump into the world of comic books. We're going to be reviewing some books that came out the past week, recap them, review them, tell you what we thought about them, and then recommend comics that are coming out this week that we think that you should check out. How you doing, Tiffany?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Fantastic. You
Right?
love it.
All right, getting that crap out of the way. Is there anything house cleaning we need to talk about before we get started? I guess we should mention that we're going to Baltimore Comic-Con this weekend.
Yes, we are.
So if you are going to be in the Baltimore area, you should swing by Baltimore Comic-Con. It's a fun show, a lot of fun creators. We're going to be there just walking around. No booth, no merch, just us.
That's it.
Just selfies and comics.
It's just us, so it's,
yeah,
it's fine.
it's 50% less exciting. But you know what? This show is 50% less exciting every week. So make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, click the bell for notifications so you know when we're going live every Monday to catch Off the Rack live. So I guess I'll jump into a book really quick.
Do it up.
I said I wanted to read, and I did, and it took me a minute because I forgot about the book more or less. Like I remember the second issue of Predator coming out and not reading it. I did recommend it because I liked the first issue well enough. I was like, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
This is, of course, written by Ed Brisson with art by Kev Walker. So I went back and I read Predator 2 and then 3. And this is, of course...
How are we doing now?
It's better. It's good.
Okay.
I dig it. Like, I actually do enjoy it. It's not what you'd expect. It's not your typical Predator comic story at all. Like, it's not your typical Predator story. It does not follow the formula. It does not do all the hallmarks. But it doesn't feel like it is blasphemous to the Predator like family of stories. It doesn't feel, like it's hollow. The only thing that really irks me, it's the only criticism I have for it, is that, like all Marvel books, the context page that gives you a little breakdown of what's going on, and in this one it gives you a little timeline about all the Predator attacks or Predator encounters that we've experienced, and one of them is from the Predator. And I'm like, you have the Predator license. We're getting away from that. We have an opportunity now to not reference the Predator since it's horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
It's horrendous. The Predator is utter trash and needs to go away. And so don't use the Predator at all.
Yeah, agreed.
Don't reference the Predator. Don't talk about the Predator. Like, it's one I understand if someone wants to make a joke out of it or here's me lampshading Predator. Like, no. The most damning thing you can do for a piece of art is neglect it, ignore it, pretend like it doesn't exist.
Okay.
It is the worst thing you can do. And so that is why I try very hard to ignore or just forget about the Predator. And every time it comes up, I'm like, get that fucking shit out of here. It's the worst thing ever.
That's fair.
But no, this is following a girl, Theta, whose parents were murdered by a predator. So she spends 20 years hunting predators, and she's killed 6.
Mm-hmm.
And she finds out in the 3rd chapter in this issue that her journey, which has been solitary and lonely, just her and her relationship with the sentient, if it is sentient, I don't really know, onboard computer system that her ship uses for navigation, that she's been on this hunt to find the one predator that killed her parents. And she keeps running into different alien races, which are a lot of fun. This one in particular, there's a lot of great character designs for aliens and vehicle designs. She has this really cool snowmobile that she uses, and I love it. I was just once I saw it, I was like, yes,
okay,
yeah, all right. But yeah, it turns out the whole damn thing was orchestrated by the Predator, or at least by the Predators, who are like, we've had enough of this chick who's stealing our armor and killing our guys.
I just kind of feel like that's just hypocritical.
I know, but the Predators are nothing if not hypocritical.
That's true.
They're the most elite warriors and hunters in the galaxy, and of course they have cloaking technology on themselves, and they have shoulder cannons and hyperdrive, and even when they lose, they can blow up everything around them. No, they're assholes, but with their own warped code of honor.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. It might have been Walker's style has grown on me significantly over the last 2 issues.
Okay.
And I just enjoyed it. I just really enjoyed it. I tweeted at Brisson. I was like, "Hey, this Predator book's pretty cool." And then I deleted it. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna give him a hard time.
Okay.
I mean, it is cool. It is cool, but I was just like surprised.
Well,
Like, hey,
that's great.
yeah, nice job, Predator. Way to go, Brisson and Walker. Good team.
Excellent.
Only 6 issues, so if you want to check it out, read the first 3.
It seems to be like the time of the miniseries.
Yeah. Marvel especially. Marvel's really good at being like, no.
Or the limited series.
The limited series. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like just like get a few issues in and out.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think speaks to a lot of people though.
Right?
Like you're going to get an end to it.
Right.
It's probably
exactly.
not going to be.
Yeah, sometimes the end comes prematurely, unfortunately. Like they think they're going to get more books and then they're like told, "Hey, no. Like this book is over."
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll be damned if I ever believe that Beta Ray Bill by Danny Warren Johnson and Mike Spicer was going to be 5 issues the whole time.
I'd say too it's also like it's you could do like a Predator series like here's the new ongoing
that's
for
what
Predator,
I expect,
right? But if they say it's only going to be 6 issues, and at the end of the 6 issues they're like, we're not going to do another one of these,
right.
They didn't cancel anything.
No,
it doesn't look as bad. We didn't have to cancel 20 titles. We just didn't do another Predator like mini or limited. Like it's just a different way of framing things.
Right. I just think it's interesting. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just because I don't know anything about the industry, but like I feel like
that's a lie.
I just feel like if you were gonna make Predator work as a comic book property, Marvel gets the license. The first thing people think of is crossovers, because I think the number one Predator thing is Batman versus Predator, and it's like, well, you can never do that again now that Marvel has it. So like, what do you do? And so before you even launch a Predator book, you do the crossovers. Yeah, you do something bombastic. Yeah. Maybe not the biggest one. So like, that way you have it.
So like Predator versus Kazar.
Right. No, Kraven the Hunter versus Predator would have been really cool.
Kraven's the obvious one.
No, I would have been like Punisher versus Predator, because it's like Punisher, Predator, solo book would have been a little smaller. It's got Punisher and Predator both have their own niche audiences, but it shows the audience like, oh,
what about
Predator's here?
What about Predator versus Elektra? But like the Predator's actually attacking the hand and she ends up there.
That would be great. I'd be fine with that. Yeah. Again, all of these stories write themselves, because like Predator works in any environment. Like
except for the cold, apparently.
No, it's true. And that comes up in this. But any movie, you throw the Predator in there. Die Hard would be better improved if the Predator was in it. You've Got Mail, that rom-com with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan.
Immediately
the Predator shows up. Immediately.
Titanic.
Oh my God. That like writes itself immediately, like right off the bat. David Warner would certainly have more to do in that movie. But you do that, and then you're like, you do one of those, and then maybe you do like a Predator mini, but you get people excited, and then they're like, oh man, and you just constantly put top tier talent on those books, and you're like, but before you know it, you have like a number 3 book all the time, like a guarantee, and every time like Predator sales dip, in your mini, but it's a mini series, so the sales aren't going to dip that much,
right?
So you keep rolling out with mini series, like you were running a Venom series. And then you do another one. Like at the end of every miniseries, you do another like Predator crossover. Each one more exciting than the last. Anyway, I guess we can read some super chats. By the way, this show is sponsored by you. If you're watching the show live, you can sponsor today's show and keep the corporate riffraff out of the show and let our opinions flow like wine. And you can use the super chats to ask a question or comment here on the show. We will read it here on the program, and now you're part of the show forever.
It's true. Forever.
Like Dan V900, who's using the show to review his own stuff, which is, I wasn't a big fan of the Flashpoint Beyond issues or series, and I really liked the first 5 issues. I thought the Kryptonians showing up was introduced in 6 until I went back and saw them in 3. I just forgot about them. That's fair. I did the exact same thing. I was like, oh yeah, the Kryptonians. Literally, I was like, oh yeah, and I kind of remember that they were in there. And again, I don't even think they were really that important. Although it is setting up like a world. We'll talk more about that, because we are going to talk about Flashpoint Beyond, so don't worry. Adam Thenhouse says, watch out, Radioactive Man. It's the best comic duo on the net. Keep them lights on. Well, thank you very much, Adam.
Thank you so much.
You're very kind. Good reference. Ray Farr, ComicPop, woo! Finally, after 8 years, Johnson can stop saying Black Adam. Is it still happening? I'm sure it was fine. Also, favorite Two-Face design piece. I don't know. I guess
some of the animated series only because I'm just like, why is he blue?
Why is he blue?
Like, and I think that's why I'm partial to it, because I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a feeling that has to do with it's a cartoon for children. But I like to try to like, I'm like, was it the acid?
Right. It like killed his skin.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Two-Face design is so inconsistent that
Wait. I would say it's not
in the comics. It's incredibly inconsistent.
Is part of his face melted off?
Yes, but it's never consistently melted off. Like sometimes it's like, it's like you see muscles. Sometimes it's like the animated series, but without like the blue. Sometimes his hair is changed. Other times, like it's there's like, for example, in the animated series, his eye is like much more pronounced. Like, he has a bigger eye.
Yeah. Well, I think that's for cartoon.
Oh yeah,
and like for animation.
No, I know, but like there's at least you can identify those things. Like I couldn't tell you like, oh, the Two-Face from Faces is way better than like the Two-Face from Showcase '93. Like there's
but there's also movie Two-Faces.
I don't like any of those.
Two-Faces. Two
Two-Faces. Yeah, I really did respond to Dark Knight's Two-Face. Like when it happened, I was like, that's great. Now I'm like, he would be dead. Like it's just it really realized Two-Face where I'm like, well, oh, you'd be dead.
Well, yeah, and like in that universe in particular, and like trying to make it more real, yes. Like if that were more of a comic book universe, you'd be like,
cool, okay.
You'd be like, all right, I guess that works. Maybe there's a supernatural element to it. Maybe there's some sort of like crazy, weird medical science that's keeping him alive.
Yeah.
Who played him again in that movie?
That would be the guy from
Is it
Thank You for Smoking. Yeah.
Something Aaron or Aaron something?
It is Aaron something.
Yeah. That was like for a while, I was like, other than Sean Bean, I'm like, he should play James Sunderland.
Oh yeah.
And that's actually a relevant thing to say now. Like now I actually have relevance. I have relevance now.
Yeah. Aaron Eckhart.
Aaron Eckhart. Yeah. He was like my pull for James Sunderland. I was like, yeah.
He'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'd still be great. Hey, still time. He'd be an older James. But like, listen.
Who cares? They're going to change everything
When
anyway.
did he kill his wife?
Hey.
What is that? Is that a spoiler for a 40-year-old game?
Yeah, because they're remaking it.
I'm kidding. Well, maybe they'll change that.
Oh my God. What's wrong with you?
Brady White, howdy. I just got back my essay on Rorschach, which featured you in your interview with Tom King. Hey. And I aced it. I caught up on Strange Academy and read Death of Doctor Strange, and I'm very excited for the return of Strange Adventures.
Yeah.
Oh, Strange Academy.
Strange Academy, yeah. You saw essay, you're like, it has to be something.
Strange Adventures.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you said Tom King. Congratulations on your ace. That's great.
That's excellent.
I'm glad we could help you. In any way, but really you did the work, so you earned it well. Yeah.
Can I answer a question
Please
that's
do.
like not a super chat?
It's not a super chat. Why not?
Will somebody give her opinion on the Silent Hill 2 remake trailer?
Oh, will she?
Yeah, she will. I mean, trust me, she did a whole rundown on stream, and like, if you guys want more of that, tell me if you want more Silent Hill content, and I'll find a way to give it to you.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Simply go to twitch.tv/ComicPop.
Well, I was like, I could put it on like TikTok or Instagram. You just tell me if you actually want more of that, because like Silent Hill is something I'm extra super passionate about. And let's be honest, that remake trailer, there were elements to that where I was like crazy excited.
Yeah.
Because of how it looked. And how like part of me was like, if you could just give me that for VR and let me, and like I don't have to fight anything.
No,
if you just gave me the town and I could go there, like I could die a happy girl.
Right.
Like that would
and be able to interact with it. Not like make it work a working town, but like, if you found like a room and you're like, I need to open this door, you hit a thing, it opens the door.
Yeah, that would be fine.
Not even like there's nurses running around.
But like literally, like you see like certain areas, but the one area you see is the starting area, like right outside the town, and his car was, and like the car was right. Like, and I was I was like kind of blown away by that, because like honestly I don't know how I feel about this whole entire remake idea.
But at least like, but if they got that kind of detail right, it bodes well.
Maybe, but I know they're changing things, and one of the things that they changed was they moved the camera. And now the camera is over the shoulder camera, which like totally get for a modern sensibility, but I'm wondering how they're going to make up for that, because like having a fixed camera where you couldn't see everything really added to that sense of dread and horror.
Yes.
Especially when the game itself relied a lot on sound design for it. They're also changing up the soundtrack, which for me, like
that's messed up. I know
that soundtrack is nothing but bops, and like I can listen to that any day of the week and be a happy person for doing that. But Yamaoka is the one who's going to be doing those changes. The biggest concern for me is that it's Team Bloober, and I'm very unfamiliar with their games, but I have not heard good things. But like, so like my assignment for the next like few months is to get some Team Bloober games and to jump into them and to try them and to get more knowledge. Anyway, I'm going to stop the Silent Hill talk now, but like, okay, let's go.
Okay,
let's keep moving on.
Well, M says, has Tiffany heard that Tradmore is writing and drawing a new Doctor Strange book by the end of the year? It's really exciting. The covers are Silver Surfer Black level beautiful. Yeah, no, I am legit excited for that. I am very well aware of the Tradmore coming of Doctor Strange, essentially, and I'm here for it. Like,
if they want to keep Clea as Strange, I think there's plenty room to have, she is Strange, but to keep Clea as Sorcerer Supreme and then do like stories like they've done with Spider-Man where it's like some previous adventures.
Oh yeah.
I think that would be fine because then you could even play more out of the like rule set, even though you're going to say that the rules already existed then, but we could kind of ignore them if we told some stories from the past. Instead, you have a different, like switch up the cast a little bit, be very okay with that. If that's what they decided to do. Again, I like just for the future, like, right? If Marvel was like, hey, who's really great, Doctor Strange, let's give him another thing. It's like, do something like that. Yeah, let's like do some random historical moments, or even like do a like life story style book. Yeah, I'd be very okay with that because like he has like Strange has had enough comics throughout the years with enough like style choices, enough large events, and a lot of change in cast who surrounded him throughout it. So I think that'd be kind of cool.
Oh, absolutely,
kind of cool.
Yeah. No, so, Doctor Strange's been around for a long time. So
I think it was 60.
Oh, it was like 69? No, 60. I don't know.
I don't know. My brain's
63.
63. Thank you. I'm like, no, it's 60 something.
Yeah.
That's not 69 though.
No. 69.
But it wanted it to be because that the 8-year-old like part of my brain was like, or like, I guess for the 12-year-old, the 12-year-old part of my brain was like, yes, that's the number. Say that number.
Lol. Ray Farr says, I played Gotham Knights and I'd wait for a sale. The Jim Lee suits are immaculate, though. Also, I like the hooting you guys do whenever the court shows up. I do too. It's really fun. So
like, here's the thing about that. Like, I said that I was definitely going to play that because of the fact that it's a comic book game. Yeah. And then I've really wavered back and forth on that one because I don't know. Because I don't know. Because I made a promise to y'all. But like I've heard not great things.
I've heard mixed reviews. Let's put it that way.
Here's what concerns me the most about what I've heard about it is the fact that I've heard that the combat is very repetitive, and that immediately gives me like flashbacks to playing that Avengers game where it was like all very, very samey. And if it's not that level of samey, I can probably get past it because, like, as I've said before, I'm a fan of the Dynasty Warriors franchise. And when you want to talk about samey, it's that. But like, I'm completely okay with that. Like, for some reason, occasionally when it's like presented to me, totally fine with it. The Avengers game, the way it packaged it, I couldn't get into it.
No.
But I don't know. I feel like I need to play it so that I can at least see like Dick Grayson's ass and how well they did.
Well,
with
you
it.
will.
Like,
that will happen.
Hopefully, it's like, I mean, if I do it, but that butt better be a 10 out of 10. That's all I'm saying.
Let's talk some comics, shall we?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, if we're not going to talk about Dick Grayson's butt, we might as well talk about some comics.
I guess you're right.
I read Moon Knight number 16 this week by Jed MacKay with art by Alessandro Cappuccio.
You did.
You know, we've dealt like this. It's funny because it's like there's clearly like arcs for this story, but it very much feels like just a like
one contiguous thing,
like thing that's been happening since the get-go. That's just been building. Like McKay's got a really good sense for how to tell a story with like ebbs and flows, with peaks and valleys, with all of the jargon style terms that you hear, but he's definitely doing it. Yeah. This one I thought was interesting because we've got like two stories running simultaneously. We've done that like several times before, the A plot and the B plot. Yeah. Where the B plot typically doesn't have a whole lot of like words going on, but the A plot is narrating it.
Okay, all right, that's fun. Yeah,
like, I know that but narrating over it.
Yes.
So to speak. But you know, like there's like since the get-go, there has been like vampires. Like McKay's clearly like got a thing for vampires, and I get it.
Well, who doesn't love vampires?
Vampires and zombies never really go out of style.
That's true. There's always some new subversive take you can use on vampires.
And like,
zombies.
But like, even if there isn't, like, there's always an audience for those two particular genres within the supernatural and horror. I feel like,
totally.
You know,
yeah,
like it's always there in some way, shape, or form. And I mean, like we've seen like the Anne Rice stories coming back. New takes on them. So I'm like, no, there's just always vampires are just an undercurrent.
Yes.
And I think they often can be used to say something greater if you wanted to about society in general. For sure. This is just like, hey, we dealt with vampires in the beginning. Let's get back to the whole vampire plot, right? Like, what's up with that? What's going on with vampires?
Well, good. All right, paying it off.
You know, Moon Knight is has dealt with the assassins Grand Mal and Neiman in the last one. And he remember had that big fight while he was trying to deal with the fact that like he has these personalities, he hasn't really told anybody about it, and he realizes he needs people to help him. Like he needs the support of the other Moon Knights.
Yes.
And also the others in his like group, right? So that part though is kind of what made me like I very much appreciated this issue, and I liked it because we're getting back into what
makes Moon Knight Moon Knight.
Well, yes, but also like, hey, Moon Knight dealt with some vampires at the beginning in a different place in his life. Now he's in a hopefully better place for himself, and now we're going to deal with them again. I was like, that's kind of cool, right?
I agree.
But you know, while he is dealing with vampires by going to Chinatown and talking to another faction of vampires, which is admittedly like, if you're a person who likes vampires, you're just bound to run into other factions / families / clans / whatever of vampires. It's going to happen, right? So like, I feel like I'm not super versed in vampire pop culture stories and others, but or others on the level of others.
Yeah.
But I have some knowledge, so I was like, yeah, sure, yeah. Here we are.
Right.
Of course there is. Like, why not? But while he's doing that. Oh my gosh, what is his name? The other Moon Knight, who for some reason my brain just
Jake Lockley, Stephen Grant.
The
other Moon Knight,
yes,
like the self-appointed
little other one. He's fighting with Grand Mal and Neiman.
Yeah,
which I was like, we just kind of saw that,
right?
And I know it's a different character theoretically having this fight, but I just thought that was kind of strange.
Yeah.
And we're doing it for a reason though.
Right.
Like there is a reason for it, but as we were going through it, I was kind of like, okay. Like I kind of feel like we just were here, but you know what? I completely trust Jed MacKay, and it's couched within this larger conversation as to what's really going on,
right? Where
the structure came from, where the tutor came from, you know, why this other faction of vampires can't help, what the grand plan is, the fact that Jed MacKay is like, hey, do you remember that issue of, I think it was the death of Doctor Strange when they had the tie-in with Blade, and and it's like, don't forget Chernobyl is a vampire nation that's like recognized by the world,
right?
And I'm like, oh yeah, this is like yet another like edition of more recent history that Jed MacKay remembers, but Jed MacKay remembers this, and it's like, don't forget that exists, and that like at the end of the day, the tutor wants to rise up in the ranks of vampires in terms of like making deals and like not factions, but like, you know, alliances,
inroads,
and like putting himself out there to be like recognized as like the vampire for, I guess, the US.
Oh, okay.
To one day maybe even like be recognized by Dracula and or take him down.
Right.
So that's what Moon Knight's gonna have to deal with.
All right,
bring on the bloodsuckers. And there's kind of a bit of a surprise ending to this with a character, which I don't want to. That's kind of a spoiler. Right. It's a potential spoiler for what may or may not have happened to them. So I will not say anything to that on the off chance you haven't had a chance to read last week's issue. But you know, the art looks great, and I'm not like, ooh, this sucks. I was just kind of like, we just saw this fight, damn it. I'm still enjoying it.
Good.
That's all right. I still like this show, I like this show too, though. I do. Yeah. I like this show. I still like this book, and it's probably the longest. It is easily the longest I've ever read Moon Knight for.
Oh, easily. Yeah. Yeah. What issue were we on? 16. That's longer than I lasted on the Charlie Houston run, and that's my favorite run.
Yeah. So I think that says a lot. If you are a person who was like, how do I get into Moon Knight? There's plenty of runs you could pick up, but if you want to be like, I want to get into Moon Knight and then be current, you could just jump on the series. I feel like you could just jump on from issue 1 and feel very comfortable. I think MacKay's doing a good job.
Nice.
Of making new and older readers feel like, hey, it's
you
Moon
can
Knight,
you
baby.
can read this.
Yeah. There is also a really like, oh, that's right. There's 2 things in this book that I had to make sure I wanted to bring up.
Oh.
One was that he makes reference to wearing white.
Yes. So the people can see him coming.
Yeah. And I was like, huh, that's really funny.
Yep.
2 is that he says something in this that I was like, I swear I only, and maybe I'm wrong. You can correct me if I'm wrong. The only reason I have any knowledge of this term before reading into this book is because of you.
Oh, okay.
Because Moon Knight says, I'm not in the habit of selling wolf tickets.
Hey, nice.
I was like, I know that saying.
Yeah.
And it's only because you said it. I was like, You made that up.
Yeah, no, I told you. That's a real thing.
I know it is. And it just showed up. Jed McKay is like, I know what a wolf ticket is.
I ain't selling wolf tickets. I think that's in our Garth Kirby book.
I think you're correct. So this is why, listen, comics are good. They teach you things you don't know.
Yeah, they teach you terms and words that are like outdated. It's great.
You bring them back. You just start saying that. You just start saying it because nobody will know what that is.
Yeah.
They won't know it's super old. They'll just be like, okay. I don't want to seem like I'm dumb.
Right. Exactly.
I know what a wolf ticket
I know what selling wolf tickets means. All right, well, let's talk really quick about Deceased War of the Undead Gods from Tom Taylor and Trevor Hairsine.
This cover is intense.
Yeah, well, the whole book's intense. There was a zombie apocalypse 2 books ago, and
yeah, I mean that's gonna happen.
Batman died, and Superman was thought to be lost, and then returns with a robot arm and stuff. Like, there's a lot of fun stuff going on in Deceased, and it's one of I would say it's one of the most like winningest alternate history, alternate Earth lines because of how many damn spin-offs and series there are, like how many issues there are under the belt of the War of the Undead Gods outside of I guess Earth 2 that went on forever. But War of the Undead Gods is fun.
Okay.
I think it's like the last chapter of the Deceased book, so to speak.
Really?
Yeah.
That seems interesting because
well, Taylor's like, I'm done. I wrote it all.
Which I completely get. I just thought that there would be a little more fanfare for this series.
I would think so too.
DC seems to be such a fan favorite and a beloved series for a lot of people.
I know.
So to not put it out there like, this is it, guys. Like, you better get in, read this.
I know.
DC
has I don't know, maybe fired their marketing department or something because like
I'm available.
I know I'd be happy to do it for a fraction of the cost, but yet they don't promote their books, whether they're big or small, whether they should be exciting or not. But I think that's actually indicative of a larger problem that's systemic in the industry today, which I think has only been proliferated thanks to the like rise and fall of the lockdowns, thanks to COVID-19, which is there's no enthusiasm. Like there's a drop off, a significant drop off in enthusiasm and fervor and hype surrounding the industry, surrounding comics. There's event burnout, so to speak.
I think so I think what the issue might also be is not only that there is a drop off. I mean, sure, but I also wonder if there isn't two things going on. One is, how many times I hear from people that they didn't even know something was coming out?
Yes, it happens on our show every day.
And two, that the things that they did hype in the past were things that maybe didn't deserve it, and so people now feel betrayed.
Oh yeah,
by that over the top hype. So like, maybe they've completely pulled back because like, well, it's not worth doing.
Right, and it's like, but Judgment Day's great, and no one's talking about it, and Dark Crisis is a crisis, and no one cares. And those are the two that we always talk about. But like, I think that those two are kind of like the avatars of their respective publishers and the like kind of reaction to their respective books from their audiences, which is just like meh, like Deceased. And I remember Deceased having like the last spinoff that they did, which was another like prequel to one of the books. It was still great and it was still beloved. No one complained about it. And yet, like, so I thought like, oh man, maybe Deceased just burned out their audience by having too many tie-ins. But like the fact is, everyone liked it, including myself. And so here it is, like the final chapter on Deceased from everyone's favorite comic book author, Tom Taylor. And there's nobody talking about it, and it's a shame because it's really dope. In this issue, the virus is raging across the space and New Genesis, and Taylor's playing fast and loose with continuity and stuff. Like it's the world you remember, but Supergirl hadn't landed until like literally a couple of hours before, and the Rann-Thanagar War is happening now instead of then, and so the anti-life virus is raging through space during the Rann-Thanagar War. Well, and I guess we got a lot of zombified Rann and Thanagarians, and so we got them like attacking. People desperate hire Lobo to deal with them. So now Lobo's immune to the virus, and Lobo's involved. Adam Strange is now like succumbed to the virus because, of course, like his Zeta beam wore off when he was on Rann. He came back to Earth, got bit, went back to Rann, and bit everybody there.
That's crazy.
I know, it's great stuff.
That's really smart.
Yeah,
That's a clever use of that.
That's the thing. It's so smart and it's so fun and it delivers across the board. Like every time you're like, oh, it's a great moment and it pays off and just like set up and pay off like you were talking about earlier. Great stuff. So check out Deceased: War of the Undead Gods. I'm not. I say it every time, but I'm not wild about the title. I think it's too much title. But you know, the first one was about the anti-life virus. The second one was about magic, and the third one is about the new gods and space, I guess. So you should be reading this series. It's a lot of fun if you're looking for like anti-continuity DC stuff. Ali Alziadi says, hello, hope you're both well. With The Rock asking for Black Adam not to be in Shazam, along with hyping his power set, I feel like his ego is bleeding into his character. Thoughts? I think he's been doing that forever.
Yeah. So, no, I definitely
absolutely
feel that for sure, and we'll probably get into that a little bit when we talk about
Black Adam, the
movie itself. But I don't think you're too far off.
Yeah. Nuber 375 thinking about watching Sandman. Is it worth it?
I think that's entirely up to you. It
doesn't hurt the material.
It doesn't hurt the material necessarily, but if you've read Sandman or you listen to it via Audible, you're going to need to take some of that information and put it on the back burner, because Neil took the story and shifted some things around and added a whole like slew of stuff early on. So I'm not saying it's not worth watching. I'm just saying when you go into it, you need to understand that it's not going to be a 1-for-1.
Colt Seaman, hey y'all, have you seen the new Quantumania trailer that came out today? Keep up the great work. That is to say, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Yeah. And it's fun. I'm excited for it. It shows Kang. It has shows Cassie as Stature, if they're going to call her that. I certainly hope so.
Shall I just pretend like I saw it?
No, you're fine.
Because I didn't, but I would like to.
Yeah.
Because I'm a one trailer, and then I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
I'm not going to watch anymore.
It's a great trailer in terms of like it setting up what's going to happen and not really giving away too much. Okay. And I'm hyped. It looks fun.
That's great.
Plus, the Jeff Loveness wrote it, and he wrote the Vat of Acid episode for Rick and Morty. So,
oh no, Ray, really?
So I'm hoping for hilarity and also like gut wrenching family shit and bones. Oh no! Don't jump in that acid. It's full of acid. It'll melt you entirely, leaving only your bones. Danielle Raymond says, "Thank you for recommending Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. It's become my favorite comic and has helped me mentally / emotionally in a time where I sorely needed it. It has cemented Supergirl as my favorite hero alongside Spider-Man."
That is so great. Honestly,
love it, Danielle.
Happy to pass it along. For sure.
Yeah.
It's such a great story. And I tell you, there is something in there for everybody.
I agree. No, Supergirl Woman Tomorrow is one of the best books of the year, if not several years. You should, if you haven't already, if you slept on it, you should be reading it. It's amazing. It's a beautiful story. Thanks, Comic Tropes. He popped in to say, hey, have a good show. You too, man. And hey, after the show, Chris, I believe, will be doing a show himself, so check out that show as well. Josiah Haynes, I miss Hack and Splash page, frowny face.
Yes, sir.
Me too, man. I wish that like there was an audience for it. We were, a lot of time and effort and work went into it. And,
at least on the last episode, that was where I wanted.
And that was about 6 or 7 years ago.
That was like that last episode. So I was like, this is what I want the show to be, and then I was like, there's no one to watch it. So I didn't do it.
Yeah, that was a show dedicated to independent comic books, so you can imagine how well that did. But loved making it, and the audience that did watch it loved it. But yeah, we had a hard time. It was tough because like you did 6 or 7 episodes of that show, and no creators who worked on that book would promote it. Every single book you did, no creator was like, thank you for dedicating an entire like narrative show to promoting this work and talking about how important and how valuable it is. And it was just like, but it's a show that needed,
but I wasn't doing
it needed some help.
I wasn't doing it for that.
I know, but I'm saying from a perspective of like, these folks have an audience and could have used, it's just a shame. Memento Mori, Moon Knight, woo, that ending, frowny face.
I know. I'm not gonna say anything. It was Hunter's Moon, by the way. So thank you to those in the chat who gave my brain a little help there.
There we go. Hunter's Moon. The Telphonics, off topic by no, but can I get your thoughts on Gilmore Girls? Best wishes. It was a great show for the time that it had. Unfortunately, it wrapped up. It wrapped up fine, but the last season wasn't great, and then the revival was not great either, which I was surprised by. But I loved the show when it was first on.
I don't remember how we even got into it, but we did.
Well, I liked it a lot, and it was on, and we were watching a lot of TV at the time. And
Yeah.
I was like, well, let's watch more Gilmore Girls. And we did. And we watched the crap out of it.
But not when it first came out.
No.
We were way late to that party.
No, I had a friend who watched it while it was on, and I would make fun of him endlessly for it.
Didn't even know about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say that Rory is the worst.
Yeah,
she never gets better.
I'm not a Rory fan.
Rory is the worst. Rory's the worst. Eric Wu, watching while isolated from COVID. Well, hopefully you have a speedy and uneventful recovery.
Absolutely.
You guys are lifesavers. Long, fun content. Have a good week before Halloween. You too, man. Thank you.
I hope it's a spooky week.
Yeah. The Shadow. Hey guys, ComicPop is far and away my favorite YouTube channel. Was wondering if you had any plans to do Dark Victory or Haunted Night on back issues. Happy Halloween. You too, Shadow.
That one has often been on my list for Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up going with a different book this year that had been on my list for a while as well.
Yes, so that'll be coming out on Wednesday. So keep an eye out for that. Ray Farr, I read that as Gilmore Girls, but I thought of that as Golden Girls. Golden Girls rocks. Yeah, Golden Girls is consistently better than Gilmore Girls.
I watched a lot of Golden Girls with my grandma.
Yeah,
like a lot.
The original Sex in the City.
Which is like, now that I think about it, I'm like, is that appropriate? I didn't know any better.
Greg Pectus, have you read Gail Simone's horror comic book Clean Room? It's about aliens using Earth as a prison planet. It has so many creepy ideas.
I've seen it.
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
No.
I have not, though.
Irons Comics. Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Loved X-Men 16. Well, let's talk about X-Men 16. Thank you very much, Iron Comics. Good transition to X-Men number 16.
Did you read it?
No.
You didn't?
No.
What happened?
I just didn't
want to.
You
just off?
I will eventually.
We're back in the vault. Don't you want to go to the vault?
Not really. I don't really care anymore.
It's the children of the vault.
Oh, I did. But I heard about some payoff from this.
Definitely some payoff.
Definitely some theories we had that happened.
Yeah, that's right. I appreciate you going for the singing. I honestly do. Listen, what do we establish here? Forge and Sinister had a bit of a plan, or a bit of a working together relationship, presumably. So here's what I was connecting together was that like it was about getting him certain copies of mutant powers that he could use for his suit in order to go into the vault.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They are there to get Darwin. But that's not who they find.
No.
Presumably, they assume Darwin is dead, and instead they find X-23.
Oh no, Wolverine. Laura.
They find Laura. So,
oops indeed. Sync's like, yes.
Dope.
Give her back. And you can kill this one. It doesn't like me.
Yeah, wait, kill that one, and then kill this one again. So now she's young.
Right.
Like me.
She still looks fine.
No, she does. I'm just saying, like, it's like, wait.
She's got some fun rogue hair, but yeah.
Yeah, she definitely does have that going on. So it's like neat. This one, okay, so this issue was interesting because like great reveal.
Yeah, it's also great because it's like, oh no, it's the problem.
It's the problem.
The problem that they brought up finally.
It's the problem. It's the problem I didn't anticipate coming from
this. No.
Like that wasn't the one I was like, that's where this is gonna come up. No. I just did not see this specific mutant being the cause. I knew that problem was going to come up eventually because how could you leave that there?
No.
That's just there waiting for someone to pluck that juicy fruit and tell a story about
Indeed.
it. And bake a pie out of it. I guess it was really where that analogy should have gone.
Mm-hmm.
This is of course written by Jerry Duggan with art by Josh Cassara. Joshua. I don't really know him that well, so I should just call him Josh. The other part of the story is that outside the vault, the rest of the X-Men team are like hanging out. They're waiting for Forge to return because for them it won't be that long, and for him it'll be God knows how long.
Yeah.
And you've got Havoc and Cyclops on a team, and so they have to have an argument.
Mm-hmm.
And part of me is like, naturally, they're brothers, they can't help themselves.
Right.
And then the other part of me is very much of the mind that Cyclops seems like he's moved on and become sort of a different person.
Oh no.
And Havoc has also gone through a lot of things. Now I do feel maybe he hasn't come out, as healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Especially not with Maddie coming back and then immediately being like, screw you, I'm out of here.
Yeah. I'm gonna hook up with
I gotta
Ben.
go. I gotta go do something over in Spider-Man. I got Limbo back, and I'm just not even gonna bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Mm-hmm.
So they have an argument about how Havoc essentially calls him out for not wanting him on the team. You don't want me on this team.
No, I don't.
And Cyclops reveals that the only reason he's on this team is because he put all of his ability to get anyone on this team behind Forge so that he could find out what Forge was up to. And then to get him back, Forge put everything he had behind getting Havoc on the team as payback. And Cyclops tells him that.
Right.
Now, let's not forget what they're outside the vault. And outside of the vault is also this like
mother mold?
No, this bubble, this dome that's housing a few of the children of the vault who have like escaped.
Right.
And they're in a dreamlike state where they believe that they have taken over
the
world.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a fight.
Right.
And you're clearly just doing this so that we can wake up one of them. And that's what happens. And everyone's got to scramble to
pretty lame.
And this was the first time that I was like,
that's pretty lazy.
Yeah, which I'm wondering.
Like, is that also maybe one of them is also in a bubble? Like,
I don't know. Maybe there'll be some payoff to this at some point. But for Duggan, this felt a little lazy. Now, he might just be addressing the elephant in the room of having Havoc and Cyclops on
a team together for the first time in a while. Except, like, we've already established that, like, Cyclops and his family have already gotten better. Like, they're all fine now.
Yeah. Yeah. So this was the first sort of weaker link in a X-Men story that I felt in a while.
Yeah.
I really liked everything that happened in the vault.
Sure.
I don't like Forge there's like a communique from Forge that goes out once he's out. So presumably he does do that.
Yeah.
But
that was pretty lame.
But we haven't seen him technically get out. And there's definitely someone following him in there. Right. And I'm wondering if Forge assumes that potentially Darwin's abilities, they might have already taken those.
Yep.
And, taken them as far as they could. So I'm wondering if the person following them isn't somehow related to Darwin or is. We'll find out. Yeah. So the vault stuff, I'm actually be very interested in. The stuff that was happening outside, which I've been really eating up the team dynamic for the X-Men so far. But this was the first time I was like, this is a little boring and obvious.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that just means that Duggan's like, hold on, trust the process.
Right.
Trust the process.
Yeah.
And by that, I mean, that's like something you'll hear artists say a lot, because sometimes when you're in the beginnings or the early stages of an art project, it looks a hot mess.
Right.
And you have to keep going through it because you've got to trust the process that by the end, it will become what you want it to be instead of looking a hot mess.
Yeah. So, and and misdirection's a lot of is very much a theme of this book in particular.
And so since Duggan's been doing such a great job, I am absolutely willing to trust the process for now, but I'm a little on like alert.
Yeah.
So
it's fair.
It's like a yellow alert.
I also read a book by Taboo and B. Earl called Deadly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
What is up with this cover?
I don't know. Yeah, so Pete's having some like dreams about being a monster or some kind of like demon version of Spider-Man from another reality, which I think is
he becoming a monster?
No.
Is he gonna get a bunch of like? He's gonna become a Spider-Man?
He'd better not, or a man spider.
Yeah.
It's like it's fine. Like Spider-Man's on the West Coast doing like work for Osborn or whatever, and he's working with like this new character, and it's fine. It's like it's very fine. There's a lot of talking for like not a lot going on. The only thing that I will say is like, so, Spider-Man's plagued by dreams, and the dreams are that he's like there's a demonic version of himself running around and like living in like a demonic version of New York and whatnot. And then they're playing with like this kind of like I don't know, anti whatever technology that opens up portals and whatnot. And sure enough, at the end of the issue, like the only thing that's really exciting is like the implications of the ending, which is like, oh, that's kind of fun. That one thing is kind of fun. I don't know if the rest of it was, and it was that like they summoned the demon bear.
What?
Yeah.
I like that.
I know, right? And it's like, yeah, but you got to get through the rest of the issue, which is like not terrible. It's just like, oh, okay, whatever.
I like that a lot.
Yeah,
that's fun.
And of course, like Peter's dreams about like being possessed, or at the very least, like being like the worst version of himself with like crazy arms and stuff. It's like,
sure,
oh, okay, yeah, the demon bear will do that to you. Like,
that's gonna happen when you encounter the demon bear.
But yeah, so Demon Bear versus Spider-Man. All right,
interesting.
Yeah.
It's two different things that are coming out, which Spider-Man
and the X-Men.
Yeah, is crossing over with historically X-Men related ancillary characters.
Mordezai says, I feel you are right. I came back to comics reading team books with lesser known heroes. I've had fun.
I've had fun with that.
I knew JD was good because of y'all. Well, hey, all right.
That's awesome.
That's great. I'm glad to hear it. Hogshead, if Black Adam was the way to introduce favorites like Dr. Fate, etc., doing anything on screen, worth it. Enough with Batman's Rogues Gallery already. Okay. Certainly they use that as an opportunity to do that. And yeah, I'm not interested in Batman villain movies, so yeah. Potassium to the Heart. I just went to the American Psych Nursing Conference. Someone researched the use of comic art in marketing ads for young adults and teens about quitting tobacco. Comics everywhere. Keep the lights on.
Wow.
Hey, that's cool.
I love that.
All right. I hope it works. I hope it does. I remember seeing, like, when I was a kid, they used comic art to promote teen-oriented stuff. Like, I remember Zit Fighters from Outer Space was a Stridex branded comic book newspaper strip type of series about like spacefaring heroes that needed to eradicate zits, and it stayed with me forever. Brock's
Apparently
Rocks.
It has.
Yeah. Brock's Rocks, obviously, about those terrific candies that I've never tasted, in which a dinosaur is like awesome. Rocky D, I believe his name was. And he says that he's eating. They're like, is that dinosaur eating rocks? And he's like, wrong, brontosaurus breath. These are Brock's Rocks. Get your rocks off with Brock's Rocks. Chocobo Kid, it's spooky season. Tiff's powers grow tenfold. That's I agree. Living Freak says, getting some creepy Gathering of Five vibes from the Spider-Man cover. Yeah, don't worry about that. It'd be cool if it was. It'd be neat because there's like, it'd be neat if like they were like, let's bring up the Scryers and other random crap from Spider-Man's like neglected mystical past. But we're not doing that. That's fine. I read Nightwing number 97 from Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo.
Is it Redondo?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, no, the answer is it's just that the credits are wrong. This cover's fantastic. We talked about this before. I told this to Tiffany earlier. She was like, you told me all that already? But it bears repeating because it's a great cover. Nightwing and Barbara team up to save Boss Maroni, who is now, he's got all the information, and he used to be protected by Blockbuster, but Blockbuster's been killed. And so they have to protect him from like, assassination attempts by all the villains and crime lords who stand to lose everything from Maroni turning state's evidence. And that's fun. There's a little like follow along, watch Dick and Babs like hang out, bang, and
what?
Yeah, no, and it's really like well executed, by the way.
The banging?
Yeah, it's a cute little like sequence where like she like lunges for him.
He's an acrobat.
Yeah, exactly.
It better be well executed.
Well, yeah, no, but I'm saying like she like attacks him, and then like you see their costume, like it's just one panel of their costumes like just mixing together. I'm like, oh, it was a really well done sequence.
Right.
But yeah, it's a good book, as per usual, leading up to the 100th issue of Nightwing. I like it. I don't give a crap about like the Heartless or the Heartbreaker or whatever the hell the new villain's name is, but I really like just seeing Nightwing interact with his characters and executing plans, and I like that kind of setup. So this is a good book. So keep reading.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What'd you read?
What did I read? I'm going to go over two. Really, I've got like three left. So I'm going to go over a few of them.
Great.
I read I read half of the Book of Evil.
Yes.
I didn't finish it all because I didn't realize upon picking it up on Comixology, because this is a Comixology original. It's a Comixology original, so eventually it'll be probably reprinted. By Scott Snyder and Jock.
Yep.
So you knew I had to check that out. But if you read his After Death AD, I think that's what it was called.
Yeah, from Jeff Lemire and him.
Yeah, this is like that style of book where it is a comic technically, but almost more of a book.
Okay.
Really sort. I don't. This. Once I finish issue 1, I think I'll have a clearer idea of if this is something I want to continue with. It's only 3 issues, just like the other series was as well.
Okay.
Really weird stuff in this, and could be kind of cool if he sticks it all the way through. Essentially, something happens to humanity one day in which people over the age of like 14 or 15,
Yeah.
when you hit like that adolescence sort of phase, become psychopaths. So anyone over that age becomes like a psychopath.
Okay.
And that's what they called them then. But like the reality is they were just becoming human, like more human. And so now they're the humans. And out of the 90, like there's 92% of people that happens to and 8% don't. And they're considered to be like animals now.
Right, yeah.
But I guess they still like keep them so they can breed them and I guess and make more. I don't know. There must be a purpose for that. We don't know yet. But all children are kept in like a separate city called the Yoke until they are able. It's bizarre and it's written from the perspective of someone who is part of this whole
new society.
Yeah. And it's all very off kiltered and it's very like there's got like cult like elements to it that they're so indoctrined to this mentality, this way of life as well. They have a brother who really was like, I don't know if this is the best way that things are going. So really kind of weird stuff. Depends on how you feel about Snyder. Depends on how you feel that style of book. But I want to at least give it the first issue, read all the way through. I just didn't realize in my timing of things, I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot to read this one. So I was like, oh, it's 36 pages. I can handle that. When I saw the way it was laid out, I was like, I'm not going to have enough time. That's okay. I'll get as far as I can.
Yeah.
So just wanted to point that out that exists. I also read Midnight Suns.
Yes.
Number 2 came out. The book that I swear must be part of the trying to get us ready for the game in a way, even though I don't think the team is exactly the same there. It's also the first time I was like, hey, remember that fact that Agatha Harkness looks different in the WandaVision show? But we see her for the first time.
Oh, we see the new hot Agatha Harkness. Great.
What it is it's her from the past. It's her when she's younger.
Or are they bringing young?
I'm gonna guess they're gonna do that. We just have a flashback.
Okay.
To establish who the Coven are and like why
and what she used to look like, so that we can.
Yes, we also see Voltor for the first time, and he's creepy AF.
Cool. Good.
If you don't care about this book, I'm not gonna be able to sell you on this.
No.
Like I'm just
right.
not.
You don't love it enough to be like, you need to read Midnight Suns.
Yeah, I'm not like, holy crap, guys, this is the most amazing thing I've ever read. I'm not saying Ethan Sachs is doing a bad job, nor am I saying that the art by Luigi Zagaria is the worst thing I've ever seen. I'm just saying, unless you have some desire to read a magical book that has
Wolverine in it,
and Nico Minoru, sorry, magic, but Spirit Rider and Blade. I can't make you read this book.
No,
it's just
I never will.
And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm also not saying it's amazing.
Yeah, it exists.
It exists, and I'm reading it, and I do want to know what's going on with Voltor and how they're going to square that circle. Clea Strange obviously shows up in this near the end to put our characters in a different position so that they're in another realm, possibly the Dark Dimension. We don't know yet. And also Doom got to show up. But really, most of this book is just a big fight. This issue, though, did feel a bit decompressed.
Oh, okay. Great. I love that.
Don't you?
No.
Don't you just love that? I believe this is it's either 5 or 6 issues. I can't remember.
I'm sure I'm sure if it's 6, it'll be 5, and if it's 5, it stays 5.
So I did read that, and then the last thing that I read for this week was Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings. I just like this book, even if it's like, again, it's always that book where I'm just like, oh yeah, I like this book a lot. And even by the end of this, I was like, oh yeah, because what is this issue? This issue is basically a contest of champions.
Okay.
It's for the 10 Rings.
Sweet.
So Jean Luen Yang and Marcus To telling us this story of the Game of Rings Part 1.
Okay. Right, because they don't think that he deserves them. So
yeah. There's a level of not faith. So the most revered game administrators have put together the Game of Rings. They've invited a bunch of characters that Jean Luen Yang knows.
Right.
Which I'm just like, wow, good. Seriously, some of these people, I was like, I'm not 100% I know who this person is. Also, Shang tries to go on another date. It's interrupted.
Oh, no.
Shang-Chi just can't get a break.
That's fair.
But they're going to have to fight their way through different levels where, at this level, like 4 people will be eliminated and then like however many people and then get to the top.
Yeah.
The cat shows up in this.
Okay.
Who is like a friend and at times like rival for Shang. So they're kind of working together, but I'm going to guess they're going to be the last 2.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Makes sense.
Shang gets there and he's like, those are mine. Like, they were given to me. what are you doing? They're like, yeah, we don't really trust you. He's like, cool.
Oh.
Thanks.
Oh.
Also the I want to call it the Void Worm, but I don't believe that's
a great name anyway.
I came up with that. The Desolation Worm spawn is still within that woman, and they haven't invited themselves essentially to the game.
Okay,
so we're gonna get some of that wrapped up as well, I'm sure. But it's just well written, like, you know. It's just
we didn't see him in New York, right?
No,
because he was there. Yeah,
well, I did not, because I suck. I know, like, it wasn't like I wasn't looking.
Yeah, I know.
I just, maybe they were at a different booth style or a ticketed style booth.
Be.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Young just knows what he's doing.
Agreed.
And I do like it quite a bit. So,
well, the comics guy says ComicPop Live. Woo! I just wanted to say thank you for inspiring me to make comic content on TikTok.
Nice.
Also, since it's spooky season, what horror book would you both recommend? Wait, just read the Batman Haunted Night.
Oh, sure. Look at right underneath that. I thought that was so funny.
Is it Fighters on a Pirate Ship?
Yeah, I thought
Thank
that
you.
Was, you got an hour for me to sit down.
Right, exactly.
With you, because I guess I'll say Witches right now.
Witches, yeah.
Because I'm in. There's a reason I'm in that mood.
Well, because this week, right?
I know. So I'm out of comics now.
I know. Ramazan says, defended my thesis on the importance of team management in comic book industry last Monday. Got the max score. That's awesome.
Excellent.
Way to go, man. Congratulations. Cheers to you, too.
Cheers.
So, yeah, I read World's Finest, Batman Superman from Mark Waid and Dan Mora. This is a great series you should be reading. It's a really fun book. It's, flashback series that, like, retcons everything. In this one, there was a doomed young boy, but he's like 14, who's sent from a distant planet in the multiverse. The planet is Earth. The city was Gotham, but without superheroes in it. Now that he's in this world, he has powers, but the powers are like exploding and like creating lightning or thunder or whatever. Okay. So Robin calls him Boy Thunder. Ha! I hate the name, and so does everybody else in the book, which I think is fun. He challenges his ability to be a hero, learns a few lessons along the way. We see, of course, like fun little cameos that Mark Waid really wants us to be excited about. Of course, like Dan Moore is drawing it, so it's awesome looking. And the fun is like that Waid does remember these characters and like throws them in. And like we had Hal Jordan Green Lantern, we had Doom Patrol, so you can guess who's next. But keep up with the series. It's number 8. I'm sure it will wrap up soon. But yeah, it's just a fun little book. There's a little mystery about like who the Boy Thunder is and what he may have done back before on his original Earth. And yeah, it's really cool.
It's not the Joker.
Well, the Joker is at the end of this book. But yeah, you should be reading this book. It's great. It's a lot of fun. I'm excited to see Mark Waid's Joker deal with these characters. Okay. But the Joker has I don't think he has anything to do with the previous reality.
I feel like as long as he's literally not the Joker.
Oh my God, that would be something else.
That's why it's those colors.
Says I know you dropped Defenders by Ewing, but I would recommend finishing it and reading the current Defenders Beyond run. It's Ewing at his Ewingest since Hulk. Also great art. Yeah, it's a great book.
Hang on. I don't like the idea of
dropping.
Dropping to me says I'm not interested anymore. What happens with me is
I don't have any fucking time.
Bingo. So you come up with a term for that.
Yeah.
I fell off is usually what I
fell off.
Because fell off means that I got too many issues behind and I was like, oh, yeah. Well, I'm underwater now. And with the way people tend to treat books, after a certain amount of time, you guys don't care about them anymore.
That's very true.
We don't talk about them.
Yeah, like you won't watch this show in 2 weeks. So this episode.
Yeah.
That's over, Living Freak, have you guys messed around with the Gotham Knights game yet? No.
But I might be. I don't know. It's
$60
to find out if I like something or not.
Yeah, why the hell would I waste my money? Jeff Johns and Jeremy Adams, Tim Sheridan, Mikhail Yannon, and Gary Frank all give us Batman, or rather Flashpoint Beyond, number 6 of 6, the wrap up to the Flashpoint mystery / event.
Gary Frank?
Yeah, Gary Frank shows up.
Credited? Oh, okay.
He's in the end.
Oh, was it a surprise?
It is a surprise.
Okay.
This is the wrap up to Johns' new kind of like sequel, last word. He of course had Doomsday Clock, 3 Jokers, now Flashpoint Beyond. And of course, I think like about a 10th of the way through Doomsday Clock, nobody gave a shit. 3 Jokers after the first issue, nobody gave a shit, and after like. And by that point, it's shame on you, shame on me. No one read Flashpoint Beyond. So, of course, it's also running concurrently with Dark Crisis. It took pains to tell you that this place takes place after Dark Crisis, and that Dark Crisis is irrelevant. This is equally irrelevant, but I really enjoyed it. It's just a fun little like weird book. The idea was that like, Batman, Flashpoint, Batman, Thomas Wayne, Tom King used him and had him be like a main antagonist in his run, and then they like defeated him. And in this, Batman basically steals a snow globe that's like a time vortex from Rip Hunter, one of the Lords of Time, and shunts Thomas Wayne in there, and as a result also like generates basically like the Flashpoint universe, like rebuilds the Flashpoint universe and shoves him in there so that his father won't die. But the irony, of course, being that Thomas Wayne, once he wakes up and realizes he's in the Flashpoint universe, he's like, I shouldn't be here. Like this is a fake reality. So he takes pains to try and escape. The surprise, of course, is that like if he does escape, it'll have ripple effects that'll fuck up all of like hyper time / the multiverse. So Thomas Wayne can't escape from the snow globe, and the hunters are trying to punish Batman for having like fucked with their stuff. The big reveal in this, or at least the last big reveal, was that Brian Azzarello's tie-in for Flashpoint, which was setting up that Martha Wayne was the Joker and died. Actually, she didn't. She just fell and hit her head a little bit, but she's fine now. And she is the clockmaker murderer that was murdering all the speeds. Anyone who can go back in time. Anyone who could effectively change what's going on. And she ends up like using, I want to say it was Psycho Pirate's information and whoever, to build a time machine. And her plan is she's going to go back in time she's going to take Thomas with her. She's like, come with me. I love you. I'm your wife. Let's go and get in this time machine with me. And we're going to go back and we're going to die like we should. And we're going to save Bruce, and that'll unmake this reality like you want. And of course, the journey is that like Thomas has been going through this whole book, and you could have guessed it from a mile away that like he, of course, was like, nothing matters. This whole universe is bullshit. And all this other stuff is happening. Like Superman is being established, the Superman of the Flashpoint universe, who is like everything matters. And like there's also this big invasion of the Kryptonians. Like, that's right, Krypton didn't die. And so the Kryptonians are coming to Earth, and they're going to invade right after Batman, like basically single-handedly fucked up the whole Atlantean Themyscirian war, because he's like, who cares? It's stupid. And it's like, yeah, it is stupid. I don't care. And it's boring. So like now that's over, and now the Kryptonians are coming, and that means like, who cares? This is all fake. But through that journey, he also ends up taking in Harvey Dent's wife, who becomes Two-Face's son.
Can we trust her?
No.
If you say anything Harvey Dent,
I know. Can we trust him? But yeah, he takes in his son and like basically just like leaves him with his butler, who's Oswald Cobblepot. But obviously this kid was like kind of set up to be groomed to be the Flashpoint Robin of this world. And so we kind of build on that. And Thomas is like, no, I'm not going to go back.
What?
Because like, why? Like, why do you want to go back? And it's like to destroy everything. Like, she knows that this will kill everybody. And they don't. And so they break the machine and they stay. And Martha gets her, because she has like the Glasgow smile that like Heath Ledger did. And so they were like, so they stitch it together and they move her into the Batcave, and she gets to stay in like a cell in the Batcave because everybody thinks she's dead anyway, even though she murdered all these people. Like, whatever. And so Thomas Wayne Batman and the little boy Dent Robin go out into the Flashpoint universe to like be superheroes and do their thing.
But nothing matters.
No, but it does matter, because like,
he learns that it matters.
He learns that it matters. And like and also if
at the end of the day, it's all about family.
That's true. And if they fuck it up, they'll kill everybody. Everything will be unmade.
True.
And Batman's like, there, see? And the Hunter's like, boo. Like you bet on your father's integrity to like save to not unmake everything.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. And then
he's a Wayne.
Yeah. Well, and in it, he knew his father wouldn't do it because like of the letter that Thomas wrote him in Flashpoint.
Right. Okay.
Which we never really got the full letter.
Yeah.
And now we did.
Okay. Oh wow. He wrote it?
Yeah, he wrote the whole letter.
Wow.
And so we got to read it.
Okay.
And it's nice, but it's not tearjerker. But then the hunters are leaving, and they're like, we won't warn him about what's coming next. That'll be his punishment. And what we really need to worry about right now is nostalgia. And they're like, what the hell's that mean? And then it cuts to Gary Frank's art in a 9-panel grid in which we see that like Doomsday Clock isn't over.
What?
And that there's a new character who was actually established in Doomsday Clock number 3, who is searching for Clark Osterman, like John's son from Doomsday Clock.
Oh.
And it's like, and she has Bubastis who's now grown up. And and she's baby Bubastis, yeah. And so yeah, Doomsday Clock isn't over. It's just begun again.
All right. I mean, like, listen, he gets to play it up. It's essentially like the Ultimate Universe, in a way.
Yeah.
Like you're just doing a thing over there.
Whatever. Nobody cares.
That is almost for me. DC saying I gotta do that.
DC couldn't care less.
It's very much not in the same mentality of why you're doing it, but in a similar vein of what you're doing as them giving as Marvel giving Slott a Spider-Man book.
Exactly.
We'll make everybody happy.
Yeah.
People who want Doomsday Clock, here you go.
Yeah. Well, the thing is,
people who didn't want that,
yeah,
just read the regular stuff.
That Slott thing, though, I think that's Jay Leno, Conan O'Brien. I think that is like, we don't have enough faith in Zeb Wells. Let's put out a Spider-Man.
They know
book.
that some people aren't horribly upset with the Zeb Wells run.
No, that's true, but I think that they didn't know. I think they had to set that up ahead of time.
I know, and I'm sure they did, but I think that part of it is that they're like, well, I mean, like hopefully everybody that has something that makes them happy then.
Yeah. I think they looked at the pre-orders for like the second or third issue of Amazing Spider-Man. They were like, oh no, call Slott, give him a book. But yeah, it's nobody cares. Like nobody at DC gives a shit. There's no continuity. There's no like plan. There's no architect. And so whatever. How about this? How about that? How about whatever? How about nothing? Like, so why not? And you know what? It was like engaging. I actually found Flashpoint Beyond to be kind of like fun. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. All right. Maybe you'll see it on back issues really soon.
Oh.
And I don't mean I didn't shoot it. Don't worry. I'm not like, it's not that soon. But like,
not this soon.
Not that soon. But I will probably grab it and talk about it because I really want to. But yeah. Should we talk about the movie or should we talk about the recommendations first? Let's do the movie, I guess.
I think we should do the recommendations because that's the comic stuff.
Nick Del Tufo says, hey, Sal and Tiffany, hope you're doing well today. You too, man. Thank you. And your boys Chips Ahoy says, with all the crisis talk, I've had this dumb idea I want to put into the ether, Infinite Crises on Infinite Earths, Hypertime versus the Multiverse. I think you might say that Johns was trying to do that. But yeah, that's not bad. And, that's a pitch. All right, like they'll take that. Dex Baker, so how can you get Johns on the show so he can just explain his Flashpoint, Watchmen, Batman world? I'm interested in the most upsetting way. Yeah, I've never actually invited him. I should reach out, see what's going on. Yeah, so let's recommend some comics that are coming out this week that we think you should pick up. Tiffany has probably like 20, unfortunately, but I will recommend Detective Comics 1065. Great series, better covers. Holy crap.
That cover is awesome. Damn, I wish we were taking the train to Baltimore and back. I could read a lot of comics.
Seriously, Amazing Spider-Man number 12. I liked 11, so maybe I'll enjoy this.
Spider Glider sucks.
I know. I hate everything about the Spider-Man Goblin Glider crap.
You know what it looks like? It looks like a big spider tracer, though.
Yeah, it looks.
You always know where he is.
Right.
He's
it's
there.
Fun. Human Target 8. Yay. This is the first cover that looks nothing like any of the covers, and I'm like, oh man.
What if that means a
big shift?
Yeah,
no doubt.
Like they don't do anything without reason.
No. Tom King, Greg Smallwood, you got to read it. Vanish number 2 is coming out. Hey, Tawny Cates, Ryan Stegman,
Harry Potter,
but
it's dark.
But it's darker. Thunderbolts 3. You might be seeing Jim Zub on this show very soon, or at least not one of them. And Batman: The Audio Adventures number 2 from Dennis McNichols and Anthony Marquez.
I noticed you skipped right past that cover.
Which one?
The other one. With the
Thunderbolts?
Yeah.
Oh, with the Super Apes.
Yeah.
Well, when you see Super Apes, you know that the Red Ghost ain't far behind. So, I got to recommend it. Now watch Tiffany freak out about all the books she has to recommend.
Because Tiffany hasn't looked at all.
No, but here we go.
There's a Moon Knight annual coming out. Damn it. It looks like it's got Werewolf by Night in it.
Of course it does.
Yes, he's been dealing
Jed
with
McKay.
He's been dealing with vampires. Might as well bring in some werewolves. Why not? Jed McKay and Federico Sabatini on art this time around. Oh no, there's Wolverine number 26 is coming out. Now we're outside of the Judgment Day tie-ins at this point, so we're gonna get back to basics here. I am seeing like Beast in the background.
Yeah, maybe he'll kill him.
Listen, it's Ben Percy with art by Juan Jose Rip, so I'll probably be checking that out. Maybe based on what I'm doing here. Here's the big one, guys. This is it. This is the thing I'm literally the most excited about, but also a little sad.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want this to be over, but I desperately need to know how this is going to end. AXE Judgment Day number 6 is coming out, written by Kieran Gillen with art by Valeria Schiti. They've been trying to pump this out as much on Twitter as possible. This is not your time to get into this. If you have not been reading this, I do not recommend you pick this up. But if you have been reading this, seriously, you must be as excited as I am to see how we get at this one, folks, because I'm not 100% on how we're doing it. New Mutants number 31 is coming out this week as well. Again, not a tie-in. Written a new writer on this, I believe, Charlie Jane Anders, with art by Alberto Jimenez Albuquerque. So I will check this out,
see where it's going. If it's maybe a good time to jump on or jump off.
Yeah,
depending.
Exactly. Strange number 7 is coming out. This is the Clea Strange Sorcerer Supreme story. We're dealing still with this. The Death of the Sorcerer Supreme. This is written by Jed McKay with art by Marcelo Ferreira. So I'm gonna pick that up because I need to know what's going on. Wasn't this? Oh no, you didn't talk about this.
Nah.
Okay.
I don't know anything about it. I just didn't feel like it.
Exterminators number 2. This is the Grindhouse book. Again,
we'll see how this
not
goes.
like Tarantino.
No.
This is the Grindhouse book, written by Leah Williams with art by Carlos Gomez. It wasn't 100% how this wrapped up last time, but I liked enough of it that I'm going to at least give issue 2 a try. I think it's only 3 issues anyway, so I guess if I read issue 2, I'm going to read issue 3.
Yep.
I just feel like Lonely Catwoman, Lonely City, man. I feel like I'm going to need to, I don't know if I'm going to actually read this week. I know I'm going to grab it, but I feel like to really get back into it, I need to go back and
read the old ones.
I feel like it's been a minute since Cliff Chiang put this out, but again, he's doing everything.
Yep.
Writing, coloring, drawing.
Yeah.
All of it. It's all on him. So I definitely get why it may have taken a second for this to come out. Strange Academy Finals number 1 is coming out, written by Scotty Young with art by Humberto Ramos. Freshman year is almost over.
Oh,
so
no.
they say. So
this is a new series.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's the number 1. So
yeah.
If you're reading Strange Academy and you're like, what more? More is coming your way, folks. Oh my gosh. So this is an interesting one. Image number 7. Image number 7. There's an exclamation point. I feel like I need to shout about it. This one's like an instant pickup for me for a number of reasons. One, there's a new Witches story going to be in it, written by Scott Snyder with art by Jock. I am over the moon. I can't wait. And then there's also going to be some additional other series in here. For example, written by Joe Casey or Tim Seeley, Jeff Johns, Scotty Young's in there, Patrick Gleason is in here. Is this
and Kieran Gillen?
I know. I was getting that was my big reveal.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were because you're talking about artists now. I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh, sorry. I just kept going down the list. But but for me, it's already spoiled. But Kieran Gillen's also going to be in this. So
yeah, did you hear about that?
No.
No, this is the first time you're finding out that he's writing a thing. I don't even know what it's about.
I don't know. All I know is I'm going to read it.
Yeah. Why is the 7th one this so exciting? What about Image 1 through 6? I haven't heard anything about Image 1 through 6.
I've occasionally grabbed and looked through these, but yeah. So I don't know where this is going to be in terms of Witches, calling it a new story, because Witches. The first volume was very distinctly about Sailor and her family.
Yes.
Then we did Bad Egg, which was a little different to give me some Terminator vibes.
Yep.
And we got this coming as well. So
yeah.
I'm gonna check it out.
Of course.
There has often been said that there would be a sequel to it, and I don't know if he's going to direct sequel to it, or he just meant within the world of Witches.
Yeah.
Potentially. I've completely
fallen off.
I've fallen off of DC Mech. I didn't drop it. I fell off of it. But if you're reading DC Mech,
you still recommended it because you like the first 2.
Yeah, issue 4 is coming out, written by Kenny Porter. So you could check that out. And
I think we're good.
Are we good?
I think you're finally good.
Okay. I think I'm gonna. There's a lot of more spookier geared
releases
this week. So if you're looking for that, like now is a great opportunity if you have a little extra scratch to maybe pick up something a little creepy for yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's plenty of recommendations out there, but if you just want to grab something, just poke through it.
That's
see
right.
what you like.
That's right. And now we're going to talk about Black Adam, a big release from DC and New Line Cinemas.
Yeah, that one threw me.
I assume that's everything to do with like just the fact that if you heard about Black Adam, you know that The Rock has been trying to make this movie for 15 years. Who knows what the hell the deal is with that? But the Black Adam film finally came out from director Jaume Collet Serra.
I think they also directed Jungle Cruise.
They directed a number of movies that
but he was in Jungle Cruise.
He was. Well, he's instrumental in making Jungle Cruise happen. He also directed Jungle Cruise, The Commuter, The Shallows, Orphan,
which I have seen.
Yeah, and House of Wax, which
I have
is
not
a
seen.
really good movie. But yeah, no. So Black Adam came out. We saw it yesterday,
Yes.
and so we can talk a little bit about that movie. We'll give you a non-spoiler review first, and then we'll get into spoiler territory afterwards. If you're rushing to the theater and you're wondering if you should check out Black Adam, I will say that it is a cinematic experience. So if you're looking for just an opportunity to grab a bunch of fat food and shove it in your face and let things happen to you while you're watching the movie, then knock yourself out. Go ahead and check out Black Adam. You know, it's especially at a Dolby Cinema theater, it'll be loud and it'll shake you around and it'll be a whole damn experience.
Oh, yeah.
It's what people are looking for. The fact is, like, sleepy art house movies are dead and they're never going to be in theaters ever again. So the only reason to go to movie is to feel like you're on a roller coaster. So if you're looking for a roller coaster ride in the theater, Black Adam is the latest entry in the theme park experience of film. So, you know, and hey, it's the first, last, and probably only time you'll ever see Dr. Fate in a movie.
Well, at least that Dr. Fate.
Certainly,
because there are other Dr. Fates.
There are other Dr. Fates, but you know, I don't think Pierce Brosnan signed a multi-picture deal to be in these.
He was like, I did this, and hooray for me.
Yeah, he's like Hugo Weaving. He's like, I just wanted to do the one time. Well, you signed a 10-picture contract. I don't give a fuck.
I'm Elrond.
That was literally Hugo Weaving. He's like, oh no, that's okay. Well, no. But we signed a contract, so you would. Yeah, no, that's fine. Whatever, just whatever the fine is. Why are you even talking to me about the fine? You tell the guy that's in charge of my shit.
I got Lord of the Rings and Matrix money, man.
Yeah, they made weird masks of my face and made hundreds of people wear them so that I could have a Goku fight with fucking Keanu Reeves in a movie that is certainly not disappointing or terrible. So, Black Adam. What's your quickie short non-spoiler review?
If you like movies that are all like and or you thought the cinematic moments or the cinematics between the Injustice fights were like amazing, you're probably gonna like this.
Hey,
that is my like, and there's no judgment there. I'm just saying,
no,
that's my facts.
But that's yeah. If you're
those is my facts.
On to the spoilers review.
Yeah, now we'll get to that part.
Yeah, but before we do, let me read some super chats.
But we're not going to get to it yet, apparently.
Because Dan Ing says, I hate when DC decides continuity is too much hassle. Why do so many people have problems with writing Superman or keeping track of time? Dude, I don't know. I don't know.
It's real.
But they don't. Well, you know what it is? They don't they don't stress importance on it. That's why. Like they just don't care. So Black Adam. Movie's obviously about Black Adam for the most part, but we have some gateway characters in the form of a single mother and her son, portrayed by Sarah Shahi, and what's her son's name? Aman. So that's Bodhi Sabungui. I do apologize for the pronunciation of these names.
Yep.
This is the first time I'm ever actually reading them or hearing them.
Yep.
But yeah, mother and son team. They live in the fictitious country of Kondak, which of course is a great allegory for like any disaffected, former Soviet state in the Middle East that is being overrun by Western expansion and imperialism. We see some fun pulls, world building pulls like Intergang, the reference to the Justice Society, Task Force X, the whatever that underwater prison is. A lot of like DC world building, but for the most part, it's about like this mother and son who are part of a kind of like grassroots. I don't even know if they're like freedom fighters. They're more like archaeologists that are trying to like. What is their motivation? They want to get the crown, but what got them there? I think it's just that they're fighting against the establishment.
Right. Yeah, that's like a weaker link there, where I think what you're meant to understand is that Ishmael is really with the intergang
Yes.
grouping and is utilizing them in order to get the crown.
Right.
And so like he's really completely betrayed his country in order to not betray his country.
Yep. Well, in order, I mean, really, it's a power.
Listen, you gotta
grab.
break some eggs to make an omelet.
That's
It's
right.
probably his philosophy there.
No doubt.
So like that was a little like there wasn't a very clear point to that part of the plot, and I don't think you were meant to care.
You're not meant to care,
even though the word intergang came up a whole lot.
Yes.
And that you needed to have a reason that you had like flying Tron motorcycles.
They use Electrium, and it was like I remember them saying Electrium and being like, nah, "They're using Electrium. All right, I guess that makes sense." And then they were like, "That's we're using Electrium so that we don't have to, so we can have CG like jet bikes and not have to explain how."
Right.
And it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. So those are kind of like your characters that tether you to the plot. But really, like, it's interesting. This is a movie I've never seen before. I've never seen this movie before in my life, and that's not like I'm not being facetious. I really have never seen a movie like this. And as I understand it, if you're like a big Dwayne Johnson fan, you've definitely seen a movie like this. And I get this Eternium. Thank you. I was like, Electrium? Wait, Batmanium? Unobtainium? But
you know why you didn't want to say Eternium, because that sounds like Eternia.
I know. Well, Eternium is in the thing. Oh no, yeah, that's right. I didn't want to say Eternium, yeah, because in the land of Eternia we don't say goodbye, we say good journey. But yeah, I've never seen a movie like this before in my life, because like the movie is not about the son or the mother or the JSA or anything except for Black Adam and how awesome he is. And like, look, the movie's called Black Adam. It's about Black Adam. You know, even if you know nothing about the formation of this movie, how it's like took 15 years to make,
right.
You know, The Rock, when he got on board, like originally I think they asked him to play Shazam, and then he said, what about Black Adam? He's way cooler. Once he got on board to play Black Adam, and DC / whoever was in charge, clearly New Line, but also Warner Brothers was like, oh my god, this is fantastic, this is gonna save us, like we're back in business, baby. And he's like, yeah, but like once he got on board, it changed from being like, oh, a great Shazam villain to like a huge power player in the DC universe, which is like not technically accurate, but like now The Rock's in it, so now he is. Even if you don't know any of that, you can feel it in the DNA of this movie, which is like this is a Rock vehicle.
Oh, definitely.
And this is a movie that like The Rock could not have made back during like The Rundown, or you know, even like in the fledgling days when he joined the Fast and Furious, where it was like that was like, or Scorpion King, you know, like where it's like that's Rock like building his career. This is post megastar Dwayne Johnson, where it's like he is throwing his celebrity around, and he's like, and clearly his ego, because I think it's really like just an opportunity to be like a god.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like a god power fantasy movie where it's like, I just want to be awesome. I want people around me to talk about how awesome I am. I want to be set against characters that should be awesome, but aren't when they're compared to me.
Yes.
When I am injured or hurt in any way, I don't show that I actually am injured or hurt in any way. Like there'll be moments that will show that I am injured, but those inflictions will only be superficial and will not showcase the way a person is normally hurt. Like you'll never see me bleed, but you will see like lightning come out of me a little bit.
Right.
And that lightning will like not be reacted to by my face or my behavior or my like in any diminishment of my power. Like I'll still be exactly as powerful and awesome as I was before I was injured, and those injuries will be superficial at best.
Yeah,
it's just like there's a lot of that, and as I understand it, that's like kind of part and parcel to watching Rock movies. I've really never seen any except for the earlier. Like I've seen him as the Scorpion King. I've seen him in fucking The Rundown, and I saw a little bit of Rampage, but like I don't watch Fast and Furious, and I don't watch like Dwayne Johnson movies. So like I don't know about like the whole, you know, dick measuring of like, okay, well now that like I'm at this level, I don't get hurt anymore. I don't show that like I can be injured. Like I have this level of awesome, and that's never going to be diminished in any way. And, you know, like I've heard about it, but I've never actually seen it in action. And this is the first time I've ever seen it. And I was like, that's never been more apparent than in this movie.
Right.
Oh yeah, he was in Doom. Thank you very much, Justin.
I forgot about that.
I forgot about that too.
We saw that for sure.
Yeah, the first one, and it's yeah, that's not very good either. But he was perfect cast.
I feel like that's less him as the problem.
Yeah, no, Doom is not the. You don't blame Dwayne Johnson.
You do not blame him for that.
For
that's
Doom.
Not his fault.
Doom
at all
sucks.
No.
But yeah. So yeah, there's this. the whole thing is just in service to showing how awesome Black Adam is.
Yes.
Like the movie's about how awesome Black Adam is.
Yeah, that's it.
So if you want that kind of movie, like you got it. If you read comic books to show power scaling or like awesomeness, I mean, the fact is you probably don't read comic books if you watch this movie and you like it a lot. Like
that's not true. We have plenty of people on our chat who clearly read comic books and also saw the movie.
That's true.
But
the like
overwhelming majority probably not.
I don't know.
But that's kind of par and parcel though for a lot of comic book movies at this point.
Yeah.
So,
but like, The Rock has a journey in his own right. Like I do appreciate at least that they use like some origin. It's not like the true to comics origin, but it's close enough.
Yeah.
It's close enough where it's like the switcheroo is there and it's like, that's kind of fun. Like I appreciated that they buried the lead a little bit, even though it was like obvious that it was Dwayne Johnson in the role, but like, whatever.
There was a lot of things where I was like, okay, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But as far as Black Adam goes, his character is his character. There's no change. There's no arc. There's no nothing. He's a badass and he kills people.
I would say there is literally the most
like surface level.
Yeah. Arc.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because in the beginning, he's like, I don't care.
Like people are going to come at us, be like, technically, by the end, he is changed.
Right. Like he believes he should be protecting Kahndaq.
That is very much in the most technical use of that, I would say.
Right, exactly. And we can talk about the rest of the cast now.
Sure.
The JSA shows up and they are painted as like, American imperialists. Like they look like a bunch of idiots, and like it's tough because they want their cake and they want to eat it too. Where they're like, look at these dumbasses, but also look at these superheroes and how cool they are. And I'm like, it was a tough circle to square because like they were really excited about having Hawkman and Dr. Fate.
Clearly.
But only in as much as they were there to set against how Black Adam operates.
So, yeah, all right. So I'd say there's a couple of issues here, which I think was just a hard rope for them to walk, right? Because obviously, your movie is called Black Adam. This is not the JSA movie.
Right. And I'm not annoyed that the JSA are I'm actually surprised by how much of them are in it.
I agree. What I will say is that part of this like entire movie needs to hinge on the fact that no one has come to help Kahndaq ever.
Yes.
So we have to believe that the JSA have existed the entire time.
Exactly.
And that's where I'm like, but I don't.
Right. I don't, but like they don't care that you don't either.
And it's not, and like all I think they had, so here's the problem. You want to use these characters and like, hey, that's cool.
Yeah.
But you also picked a team that needs the history. They need to be like we were the first, here we are.
Yeah.
But what you really needed was a team that was newly formed, where it's like maybe these heroes existed, but like we're just getting here and like we're trying to do the best we can.
Yeah, like this actually would have been a really fun opportunity if like the people who made this really wanted to do that, to introduce Justice League International.
Exactly that. I was thinking exactly
right
that.
To be like it's Booster Gold, it's Fire and Ice, it's Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
Like because the Justice League, where are they? Right. Like and it could be a fun meta commentary on the fact that like Flash is a mess. Aquaman, sure. Batman, who even is he? Superman, is he wearing a black suit or a red and blue suit? Like, it's the Justice League movie is a quagmire. So like, how about we just have like a new Justice League that's formed by maybe Amanda Waller or somebody tangentially connected?
Yes. And what I like about that is that it also supports their argument about being like, you call yourself international, but you've never come to help us.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah, and that's a great idea.
I really was like, because like you picked the JSA, who has to have been established, and I find it hard to believe that this team, who like they're saying like, oh, like Fate is like
100 years old.
He's a long time member. He hasn't been activated in a while. I'm like, okay, so you just tried to establish that you've been around for a really long time. Doing this. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that would have been like a note next time. International might have been the better call.
Yes.
But it would maybe a little bit harder for you to use the characters you then use. So.
Right. I liked I think Cyclone did a nice job.
Yeah,
she was fun.
Here's what I gotta say. There was a lot about Cyclone, because I said here's
Quintessa Swindle.
Yeah, I thought she was fun.
Yeah, she was fun.
I noticed there was a lot of slow motion in this movie.
A
lot
of that like stop and start slow motion Zack Snyder effect.
Yes, but where I thought it was the most effective was for her. Like
her
that effect really worked. It like took her powers and turned to this like sort of like you ever see like silk performers?
Yeah.
Like, and like,
Absolutely.
like that's what it reminded me of. And I was like, that's kind of cool. Like there was something beautiful about it. I do wish, it's not her movie.
Right.
It's not even the Jade. So like,
no, but they did a really good job with it.
They did.
So it showed that there was like some level of like care.
Yes. What I did wish is there was a little more development there. I would have loved the idea of like the beautiful like dance to her powers, but like that, like they're deadly. You know, like there's something there. I was like, we're getting there.
Yeah. Yeah. Adam Smasher, I
didn't get enough.
He's in it
for him. He's in it. He's like, all right, obviously he needs to eat a lot for his power purposes. We're trying to do a certain level of jokes and humor and product placement.
Yep.
And honestly, the product placement for me was the thing I took away as the most distracting.
Really?
From his character.
Oh, yes.
From his character in general. I was like, this is very distracting.
I didn't even really notice because the movie was so like, it was just.
It came down to those baked lays. I was like,
the baked lays was the one. I was like, wow.
Lays.
Specifically, you have to eat the baked lays.
Additionally, if what we're saying is you needed a lot of calories, why are you going with the
baked lays? Why not the most caloric?
No one thinks to themselves, man,
I need
I
to
could really
absorb
go
calories
for a baked lay. Now, I have eaten my fair share of baked potato chips, and it's usually because I'm like, like I want the chips, but I know I shouldn't have them. I'll have these.
Yeah.
But I really want the other ones.
Of course. But it was funny to see. It was funny because of the blatant product placement that was in it. But as far as like their little like relationship, I thought that was like cute and incredible. Like, and that's the thing. You brought it up earlier. Everything about this movie, from the character motivations in the humans to the superhero motivations in the heroes to Amanda Waller's motivations to Black Adam's motivations to Kondak's motivations, are 100% superficial.
Everything's very superficial.
Everything was skin deep. There is nothing deeper below the surface. There was no depth to the movie. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing because I don't want to get flamed and doxxed. Like, I genuinely, that's it. Like, because the fact is, when I'm looking for stories, I look for some meaning, and there isn't any. Like, this is about, like, they say hero 177 times in this movie. And it's all in service of the fact that he's like, I'm no hero. And, it's like, here's why. And it's like, but then he becomes one anyway. And it's just like, okay. And I criticized Batman Begins with the same fucking thing. When they were like, fear, that's the theme of the movie. And I'm like, I get it. You don't have to say it every time. Like, I get it. But, yeah, everything about the movie is entirely superficial. Hawkman and Dr. Fate's friendship is the most superficial it could possibly be. So, Pierce Brosnan.
Hang on, I want to talk about that really quickly.
Yeah, please.
Because I think it's interesting because we know he is he's Hawkman, so he is a Hall.
Right. He is Katar Hall from the Stars.
Okay, is that what
he has to be because we don't have any other explanation.
And here's what's funny is that, again, we're right in the spoiler territory, so I don't need to say spoilers, but like at the end, he grabs the helm of fate and he's able to utilize it, right?
Yeah.
And initially, I was like, and then I thought for literally a second more because in the comics, Carter Hall is Dr. Fate for like a hot second.
Right.
But not Carter, Hector.
Hector Hall,
Hector Hall is Dr. Fate.
Right.
For like a minute or two. And I was like, oh, they're homaging that? So like there's like weird moments in this where I'm like, okay, someone's
paying attention.
Someone's paying attention and reading something.
Yeah.
But it didn't quite. The homage is neat, but it didn't necessarily work for me.
Right.
But like, let's go back to talking about like Dr. Fate.
Well, Dr. Fate, like Pierce Brosnan looked sick as Dr. Fate.
Like, yeah, and like that was something we were out of the movie, and I was like, I gotta say that it doesn't work across the board for all of the DC characters, but for some of the DC characters, and like particularly what came to mind was like Peacemaker and Dr. Fate.
Yeah, Marvel
could really take a lesson here, where it's like Dr. Fate looked a little silly, and I was like, that's because he looks real, and I was like, yes,
right, like he
looks like himself,
exactly like Dr. Fate.
That's awesome.
And
I
was worried. Awesome. I was worried about the no eyes thing because I was like, man, but like. It really grew on me.
And then
they put them on. I'm like, he looks silly now.
Well, I was kind of annoyed by that. I was like, oh, you had them the whole time?
Right. Like, what? But I kind of like it with no eyes.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of cool.
Additionally, I thought it was interesting. Again, it's not his movie, but I thought it was funny that Nabu does not come up one time.
Weird. Like, it's weird because he says, I'm Dr. Fate, Lord of Order and Chaos, and I'm like, oh my God, he's saying it.
Like, we were doing that right at the end. We dropped that. I'm like, well, what?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Right.
What? We're bringing in the Lords of Order. We're bringing in the Lords of Order.
Well, just he's saying it. We're not going to ever show them.
Yeah, but if you say it now, that's a part of it.
Right. Yeah. No. But he also, like, he's possessed by Nabu. Like, it's kind of scary to put the helmet on. They mentioned that it's like being...
It's like the helmet possesses you. And I'm like, it's not like it.
No, it does.
That is it.
Yeah.
And he's got like a crazy voice when he puts it on.
And he does.
I know.
But also, it's not that Nabu takes over. It's that he just is more Dr. Fate when he's wearing the helmet. Yeah. But he pops it off all the time because that's what movie superheroes do. When you have a with credit, Pierce Brosnan.
I mean, I assume the helmet is like a TARDIS. It's bigger on the inside.
Yeah.
Because otherwise that thing looks stifling.
It does, yeah. Well, I mean, but it looks like it should. I mean,
you put that on, you'd be like, I have to get out of this thing.
Exactly. But but it was really cool to see him do that.
It was.
So Hawkman is their Black Panther.
Yeah, which I thought was interesting. And the more we talked about this, because initially when we both kind of had that feeling that that's where they were taking this character, I was like, why didn't they just introduce Mr. Terrific then?
Right, because
and I got to tell you, like, would like to see that.
I would like to see Mr. Terrific.
A really well casted Mr. Terrific.
Yeah,
please and thank you. But then I thought more about it, and I was like, well, are we straight up saying he is Thanagarian?
Right. Yes. I think we're going full. If you take this as they want their own Black Panther, then it has to be that he comes from a race. You know what I mean? Like we have. Oh, you got a country? I got a planet. You got like floating ships. I got spaceships.
Right.
You got a cool armor. I got wings, motherfucker. I got nth metal. You got vibranium. I got nth metal.
Yeah.
Like it's 1-to-1.
But again, I understand this is not the space necessarily to do that. I did think they might use some subtle references to let comic book fans know where they were taking Hawkman, even within the ship, whether or not like something pop up and it's in the original Thanagarian language. And like, oh, don't like here. Hang on, let me fix that.
Yeah, that doesn't even happen.
So like I was like, are we doing resurrected?
Right?
Hawkman?
Is this
because
reincarnated?
There's a moment when Fate is like, you're gonna die, and
he's like, who cares?
I don't fear death, and I was like, wait, we're doing the resurrection thing? All right, cool. Like,
no, it's just that he's a badass.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, so like we were almost there, but again, it's not really their movie, so and that's get it.
And that's the thing, right? Like, and that's the real problem with like pulling at any of the threads for any of the characters who aren't Black Adam is that like
it's not their movie.
It's not their movie.
They're really set,
and they don't care. Like they're not building it. Like they don't care. That's why Henry Winkler is Adam Smasher Sr. because they're like, we don't care.
We don't care.
We're never gonna show him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we were like, oh man, like who's gonna be the next Dr. Fate? And it's like nobody cares.
Yeah.
Like nobody who's making this movie cares. Like they're not setting that up. You think they're setting it up because it happened in the movie, but like the movie is a Dwayne Johnson vehicle.
It is.
It's not a DC extended universe building film.
No, but
you think it is, but it's not real. Like they're not going to. Although they did put Hogarth in the movie.
Is that her name?
Yeah.
Is that what we found out? Okay.
Yeah. And Amanda Waller.
Yeah.
But why would she dispatch the Justice Society?
Waller is literally the thing that they're like just trying to use her to tether everything together. Like if she shows up in your movie, it's all within there. And I'm like, okay,
sure.
I suppose. Listen, I like Viola Davis as Waller.
She's great.
I've got no problem there.
No,
like, that's fine. Keep having her show up.
Yeah.
I would think that potentially what they could do with this now, like sans Dr. Fate, is do a
Harcourt.
show.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's Harcourt. I was like, wait, no,
who's Hogarth? Oh well. Oh, that's the Iron Giant.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
I was like, no,
Harcourt.
What?
I'm sorry.
But to do a show like they did with Peacemaker.
Yes.
But you just do it without Brosnan. He's not going to do a show.
Right.
And you don't have to worry about him.
Yeah.
So I could see them possibly doing that.
That's true.
I mean, he does fade away magically.
Yeah.
And
so you could bring him back. But yeah, why? Because they don't want to explain it.
Because we're not dealing with that.
We're not doing that.
I literally was like, Khalid's going to pick it up.
Right.
Nah, we're going to do that.
Not here. But yeah, like on paper, when you go, hey kid, it's 1998. One day they're gonna make the biggest Black Adam movie you've ever seen. It's gonna star The Rock, and you know who's gonna be in it? Adam Smasher, Cyclone, Hawkman and Dr. Fate. And also, Amanda Waller is going to be like the Nick Fury of this universe. And they're going to link it in with a show about a character you don't know called Peacemaker. And it's like, that would blow your freaking mind.
No, it would. It absolutely would.
And on paper, it does. Oh, also Superman shows up.
Oh, well, yeah. And that was actually, I wouldn't say it was like ruined for me, but
no, but it was ruined. Everyone knew.
DeMatteis actually did it.
What?
He didn't mean to, because he got a credit.
Oh, that's right. I saw that.
And like he posted, like someone sent him a screenshot or like a photo of him. And
Yes.
he's like, I don't know why I'm getting credit for this. And then
it was the end credits. Yeah.
It's thanks
Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster.
Yeah,
and it's like, why did it?
And people are like, wait, well, what? And he's like, oh,
oops.
Well, no, he was like, you better eyes than me. He didn't even see it.
No, he was just looking at his own name.
Yeah. It was like, well, all right. I mean, like for me, I was like, well, they might just mention it or he'll be a post credit.
Yeah.
So okay, so the JSA is in this, and they were fun.
Yeah, it was fun to see them. Although, like
clearly, Hawkman, they needed Hawkman in there to be
like the traditional superhero.
Yeah, like he was clearly like a combo for me of like trying to do the humor of characters like in the Marvel movies, like what Winter Soldier became, what New Cap became, like what Falcon became, like, you know, in terms of like that level of humor, but also again that like cool tech savvy side of the universe, a la the like Wakandan technology.
Totally.
So like they wanted him to be there as like trying to like show the like, no, like I know what it is to be a hero.
Exactly.
And then you had to have like the sage-like character in Fate. So I was like, well, I mean, obviously you're gonna die. If we're doing any level of the hero's journey, you're going down.
Right. Fine.
He basically like wrote himself to that death. So that's why he's there. And then the other two are just like there.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with that. They're just there.
Yeah.
The rest of things for me in terms of plot are very, again, it's all surface level.
Yeah.
It's all very surface level. I'm like,
but that's actually brilliant because then the audience can add their own depth.
Oh yeah,
that way, anytime you criticize it, they'll just explain it to you.
Sure.
Like what just happened.
Oh really?
Where it's like, actually, the reason why Amanda Waller was able to control the JSA is because of this.
Oh,
thank you. Was that telegraphed at any point in the movie, or was that just something you added? Because like, there's no depth.
Well, if I need it to be like in the thing I'm watching.
No. But like, you should read the supplemental materials in the book and the adaptation, and like, you should also just take my interpretation as canon. Like, it's just like, all right, fine, you know. But like, and by the way, it is incredibly surface level, and I think that's brilliant. Like, I think that's brilliant because it really does. Like, the prequels do that. People are like, oh my god, you have no idea. Like, look at Anakin's. Like, even though Hayden Christensen's a terrible actor and those movies are fucking written by a 2-year-old, like, there's so much depth actually implied.
Here's how I take this, and this is why like I'm trying not to be like hard on this, because at the end of the day, this movie really resonated with me. It didn't.
No.
But it's also okay.
It's something people have been wanting for a long time.
Well, and that's what I was gonna say. Like, this movie knew exactly what it wanted to do, and I think it completely succeeded in what it set out to do. Because at the end of the day, like if you think about, because again we're in October, so my brain's immediately going here. In terms of like you think of the slasher movie, slasher movies are made in a very specific way for a very specific reason.
Yes.
Right. And you're not gonna judge that.
Right. Like, I'm not gonna get mad
against
at like a Friday the 3rd. Yeah.
Like,
no. Exactly.
Like, it's two completely different things. You can't do that. And that's what I've come to terms with this film, is that like that's what it is. This is just a completely different thing.
Yes.
And it is meant to fall in line with a genre of explosive summer blockbuster style films.
Yeah.
Where it's like at the end, what people really want is the spectacle. Like, it's a spectacle movie. And so that version of it completely did what it wanted to do. 100%.
Yeah. You described this movie in a very you did a good job describing what this movie really is, and like who would enjoy this movie if you
I said that earlier. That
did you talk about like how it's like just injustice?
Yeah.
Like, it's just
that it's like, if you dig specifically, not the cartoon movie, specifically the like, if you're playing Injustice, the games, and like, you know, those like story mode moments in between the fights, and you really like that very much is what this felt like. Even so much so that at the end, Sabak,
yeah,
Cybok, no, Sabak has that line where he's just like, a champion against a champion. And in my brain, it just was fight. And I'm like, no, like, and that was, like, okay. So it took me about halfway through the movie to be like, this is this type of film.
Yes.
That's what I'm here to see.
Right, exactly. No, you could tell that it's funny. There was it was only until when Black Adam is resurrected or brought back or whatever in the beginning, when he shows up, you could tell that's the movie that everyone's here to make and watch. I was like, oh, like that's what this is. Like, it's just, we want to show Goku just be the most Super Saiyan you've ever seen. Like, just it's a 98-minute long fight scene interrupted with moments of dialogue that like are only meant to service the fight scene that we just interrupted. Like, and it's like, look, that's fine. Like, that's a thing. I don't think that's a thing that like actually is a genre. I think that's just like a thing you wanted to do.
Yeah.
But everyone who made it wanted to do that, and everyone who liked it wanted to watch that, and like that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, okay, knock yourselves out. Because the thing is, it's not like they didn't do this with a character I love. They didn't do this with a genre that like, this doesn't do anything to the genre of superhero films.
No,
it's just like, okay, yeah, there's another one.
I would say the only thing it does, and I'm not going to make an argument good, bad, because I don't really think it matters nowadays. But like all this movie did do was give movie critics and like
ammunition to complain.
To complain, and they're probably going to do that no matter what.
Right,
but like, that is what this did. But just because it's not made for them.
Yeah.
It really wasn't made for me.
I'm
being completely honest. I'm just trying to be very objective about
exactly.
This film.
I'm trying to be fair. It's like,
yeah.
And there are moments where I like, because of the nature of filmmaking, I was like, nah, like that was funny. Like, a line hit or delivery worked, even though I know that like they're only there to serve. Like, it feels like not like a Mad Libs, but it feels like just like, here is a thing. Here is, this thing I built. Go use it to blow things up. Like, it just, I don't know. It was fine. It's fine. No complaints.
Additionally, what I also don't want to see it do is like nerddom in general and fandom in general is, really should be about like your love of something. And what I feel like it's becoming more and more is not only like your enjoyment of something, but like an argument over which one of those somethings is better.
Right.
Like, it used to be like, we were at Comic-Con. We were near Comic-Con and we were in the cosplay area. And like, I appreciate cosplay, but like, I don't have that type of sewing ability or those skills. That artistry is just above my abilities, my talents entirely. And I accept that. But there was something going on up there, and like, I had no idea what was going on. And there was like a bunch of people there, and they had this huge crowd around them. And it was like something that they were doing where there was like dancing involved. And like, I really didn't understand it. But what I could understand was the like language of passion and the language of joy and excitement that was being put out there. And so even if it was something I didn't understand or had no interest in, like, I can appreciate that. And what I don't want to see are people who get overly impassioned by the stuff like this, that like then go out and go like, well, this is the best thing ever and everything else is the worst. Like, I'm not saying you can't have criticism, but like, you got to keep it civil. Like, you can absolutely have criticism, be like, I really like this and I don't like that.
Right.
And that's okay. But then like, don't go out and be like, hey, like, you suck and I wish you didn't exist anymore over not like that's what I'm always afraid of, when like something that can garner this much passion, energy behind it. Like, and that can go either way. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not just saying it, because it's like a DC movie, or like that could be literally anywhere.
That's true.
But hopefully, like, as much as like The Rock, Dwayne, might have a bit of an ego, he also tends to try to be a force of positivity.
Yes.
And so I think if nothing else, like, even if this movie was very much him being like, I basically made this movie, I got a producer credit on this film, and I made this.
Well, they would never have made it without him.
Yes. And like, I'm not going to show pain, and like, my character will float almost all the time and
be always a little bit hot, like taller than everybody else.
There isn't as much tension in the movie because
that he can't be hurt.
That he can't be hurt, and he seemingly has no weaknesses. Take away from it, not that, but that like Dwayne Johnson is like, does try to fight for goodness in this world. Like, he's
a good guy.
Yeah. Like,
or at least he appears to be a good guy.
He
presents a good
Yeah, and so like, hopefully that shines through as well.
Yeah. No, it's like it's night and day. It's funny. Like I was thinking about like Morbius and how much I don't like that movie. And it's easy to not like Morbius because like there is, Morbius was made as this kind of like, we need to make this for no other reason than because we artificially want to build a cinematic universe and we want to maintain this license we have and we want to make money. And it's like, I don't respect any of those reasons. But you can't deny that the movie they made was a movie that had like story structure and character.
Yeah.
They were, again, superficial and terrible. Like in terms of like, it was terrible how one-dimensional everything was and how obvious it all was and how like there was very little creativity involved. But like they, the lighting was fine. The cinematography was fine. It wasn't bad. I've seen major blockbusters with terrible cinematography. They made it.
Okay, there was a shot in this movie that I was like, it was pretty early on, but I didn't see it coming for what I thought we were going to get.
Right.
Which is, it's when they're driving through the desert with the van.
Yeah.
I love that shot where it's like it's like huge amount of sky and open space, and it gives you this like sensation of like really being out there and lonely. And the van's super tiny, and I was like, wow, I loved that shot.
The movie was well executed in terms of like what they wanted to execute. But
there were a couple of times though where some of their, I'm gonna guess they're green screened. I don't know what backgrounds like they were using, and it was just the backgrounds, and it wasn't even during times of like heavy CG.
Yeah.
It was when physical characters were there.
Yeah.
There's something about the face, at the edge of the face. Like that was a little distracting.
Yeah, there's feathering. You see that like it was like, oh.
Yeah, and like usually it's not that noticeable. And usually you see that type of weakness in the overall CG, but for that I was like, ouch.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. Well, my comparison's just like they made this thing, and I can crap on Morbius more because like Jared Leto is not a force of positivity, and he is not like a leading. You know what I mean?
Additionally, like
it's not no one benefited from that movie.
Out of the two, like comic book movies that I've seen recently, like if I had to rewatch one, I would watch Black Adam.
Exactly.
Morbius, because at least Black Adam is what it wanted to be. From the get-go. Like it's like here it
Someone wanted to make Black Adam,
and even if the plot is confusing at times,
or at the very least just
in terms of like you're like, does anyone have any motivation? And it's like,
why is anyone doing anything right now? Yeah,
everything's pretty surface level, as opposed to with another, like the other film where it was very much like trying to be like, I'm super smart and like here we go, and it's like, no, none of this doesn't work. Yeah, so like I would say this movie was not made for me. It is not for me at all, but I do understand people's excitement for it.
Because
it's just a different style of movie
in every way. Like this movie is Dragon Ball Z.
It felt like
it is Dragon Ball Z. And listen, I don't like Dragon Ball Z. And I've seen a season of that show. I watched a full season of Dragon Ball Z. I can tell you, I don't like it. But I know what I'm looking at. And I also know that when it comes to people who see this kind of thing, I'm in the minority, So it's like, I'm not going to be able to say like, this is a terrible film because it's not trying to be anything but Dragon Ball Z. You know what I mean? Like if Dragon Ball Z suddenly wanted to be Cowboy Bebop, it would fail.
Yeah.
Right. If Black Adam, the movie that was entirely spearheaded by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and his like film director friend, and everyone associated with this thing, wanted to make an adaptation of an Elmore Leonard play, they would fail.
Right.
They made the Dragon Ball Z of DC movies, and so I can't fault them on that, know. And it's just like, oh, I went to go see it's like if I went to go, it was be like if we just go to the movies.
Yeah,
we have to go to the movies. We have to go because we're that couple that does that, and I know them so well. The ones that just it's Friday night or it's Wednesday night. Let's go to the films and see what's on.
I have no problem with people who do that either.
I know, but like
there's something kind of charming about
I think so too. But like, but you risk seeing something that's 100% not for you and going like, no, I guess I'll just have to justify my 2.5 hours. With this, it's like it was like that happened where we're like, let's just watch a movie that's coming out, and it was Dragon Ball Z, where it's just like people who are awesome and have huge muscles and scream at each other and like and it's all about power. It's not about like the human condition or about like it's about power levels.
No,
but even then, like Black Adam's like it's about the human condition because it's like my son and me and heroism. And,
but again, it's like a surface level. Like like there could have been something they could have really delved into the idea that it's like Kahndaq is this like little forgotten place where the world doesn't want to deal with it. They don't want to go in there. But like,
and it's there. They do that.
But we don't really get the political like why.
No, like
why will no one go there?
Right. Well, like, because Intergang's there. No, but like Intergang got there because no one will go there.
Yeah, so it's like there could have been that, but like that's not the movie we're making.
No. If they had,
then they're not even pretending. That's what I think I appreciate about this movie. They weren't trying to put on airs that it was anything else but what it was.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yes, okay.
Yeah,
like
I know.
I recognize again, it's not for me,
but
we watched it, and I legitimately fell asleep during Morbius.
Right, Morbius. I
did not fall asleep during this movie.
No, that's
all.
true. Well, you can't.
I was like,
it's impossible.
Like, where are we going with this?
Yeah.
I will say, and I know a lot of people really liked the post-credit scene. I do wish they had held off.
Right.
Like, and I know The Rock really wanted Cavill in there, but like, that's such a monumental moment, theoretically.
Right.
That I was like, I feel like there needed to be a little more like.
But I think it's one of those things where they're like, it was
Circle
like
the iron's hot.
Yeah,
I guess.
I think they're just like, we need to get that in there. Like we need, just like, if we don't put Dr. Fate in this movie, no one will ever put Dr. Fate in a movie. You know what I mean? Like it's just, it's now or never.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a shame that it can't be the way we want it to be. It's almost like, And
that's fine. And again, with Fate, like if enough people respond to it, either they're going to beg Bronson to come back and they'll figure out some way to make that happen, or Dr. Fate literally is a character that has so many different iterations of him that it's like, it's not even a problem. Or her.
Right.
Like literally not even a problem. They can absolutely bring Fate back.
Oh yeah.
But like I hope that the people who saw it and liked it loved it. And the folk who didn't like it, I hope it wasn't a situation where this was a character you really, really wanted to get a movie out of, because it sucks to like have that passion for our character and then to not like it in other media. Like that sucks. And I am sorry for that. I do wish that there wasn't such a culture of like anger around like some of these properties and some of these movies. Because
they're not about that. Like, because it's all about like being the best self and being a hero, or at least being like kind.
And like I said, for me, fandom should really just be about excitement and the love for something. Yeah. And even if you don't understand it, you can appreciate someone's passion.
Or if it's not for you, even if you do understand it 100%, but it's not for you. Because that's the thing, is like people are going to accuse that we don't get it, and I'm like, that's not the problem.
Oh no.
No, I got it.
Oh no, I got it.
Like literally, during my Dragon Ball Z things, people are like, and I'm like, actually, I watched the show. I do get it.
To be fair, you didn't watch.
I didn't watch
however many seasons or iterations there were.
I've seen enough.
But we get people.
I've eaten enough egg salad sandwiches to know how many I want to fucking eat in my life.
I think when people are that feel strongly about it, people get hooked up on the details of something.
Yes.
Again, we get into that subjectivity versus objectivity.
Right.
And so like, for me, you heard me earlier in this show talking about Silent Hill, and that I know that is something that I'm very like subjectively passionate about. And I found myself during that transmission that they did very like on
reactionary,
very reactionary to things. And that's why I try not to live tweet too many things, because I really want to take that time for myself to take my subjectivity out of something and try to figure out, am I subjectively not liking this, or am I objectively not liking this?
Exactly.
And there are some things that I still feel like I'm like, no, I think it's objective, but it probably is subjective. Right.
Well, that certainly happens to me all the time.
I mean? Like, so, have a little forgiveness for people who may not have the same level of, passion you might have about something, even if they, or acknowledge it and go like, hey, you know what? Like, I think I have some idea for this and maybe it's not for me. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, that's okay.
Exactly.
But, this movie is what it wanted to be. The Rock did it.
Right. Like, he got the movie. And I think it did well enough where it's like, he'll make more.
Right. But you can't look at this and not acknowledge the fact that it took them over a decade.
Right.
To see this to fruition. And a lot of people will just let that type of thing go. Now call it whatever you will. I don't know if that's ego or if that's just
like tenacity
tenacity, which is like something that can and should be, honored,
right?
appreciated
in some way.
Yeah, where you're just like, that's cool. Like
Yeah.
you did this. And like I said, I really do hope that the people who like this movie got everything they wanted out of it.
Me too.
And if that's not your thing, guys, like seriously, like we try to talk about this as objectively as possible.
Right.
I'm not telling you not to go see this movie, but if you find that maybe that's not the type of thing for you, I know, like, listen, like, inflation's a real thing. And so, like, if you don't have the bucks for it, it's okay.
Yeah.
Or you're like curious, try to find like one of those discount days.
Yeah.
To go and see it. If you're like, you still kind of want to see it, try to look that up. But otherwise,
it'll still be there.
If you are looking for that, you should absolutely go check it out.
Yeah.
Like, if what you heard today, you're like, you know what, that
sounds right up my alley. That happened with Vanish when we were talking about Vanish. No,
seriously, go check it out.
We have a few more super chats to get to.
All right, let's do it.
Panda Go Crazy says, take my money. I will. Thank you very much, Panda. Caught you live. Let's go. Hope you guys are enjoying the last week of Spooks. What go-to horror movie do you watch around this time?
It's usually the Blair Witch movie.
Yeah, Blair Witch.
Or also, like, for some reason, if The Descent is on, I will 100% watch The Descent anytime it is on.
I know you will.
I didn't even realize how much I love
it. Right, how much you love that movie. Living Freak, easy money, someone quips, I guess even a broken doomsday clock is right twice a day when that story is written. Yeah, I can't wait.
I love that.
Girk Pectus, Spidey's glider jetpack is a perfect allegory for Amazing Spider-Man. Really cool idea that doesn't fit Spider-Man and makes him look dumb. Should have given it to someone else. I mean, who else is going to drive it,
Any other Spider character they got going on.
They wouldn't have thought about giving him it if they wouldn't have thought about it if it wasn't deliberately created for him to drive it.
I also want to mention for Black Adam really quickly. Did you find that anytime music with lyrics came into it, you knew there was gonna be a fight?
Yeah,
a fight be a coming.
Yeah, well, that way, because the lyrics will take the place of the dialogue that would take place.
Except the opening song, which really threw me off.
It really did.
That did not really come back.
No. No, I was really worried about that.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, I felt bad. I was laughing, and then I was like, wait, I need to pull this back because I'm chuckling at that because that just seems so incongruous. But you know what? By the end of the movie, I was like, I guess it isn't.
Yeah, I guess
it kind of just set the tone. It was just like, this is what you're in for,
right? And it did. It was very much that.
To be fair, yes.
Lee Allen, Sal, you are that MF boy. Thank you. I guess if that's a compliment, I'll take it.
I like to think so.
I appreciate it. Mordezai, I agree with Tiffany. Someone told me this was like a fighting game as a movie, so I enjoyed it as a Injustice the movie, not the animated one.
See,
nice.
Yeah.
Ali Elziadi, haven't seen the movie yet. Pierce Brosnan mentioned Naboo in an interview. I'm most excited to see him. Was he your favorite part of the movie? He was certainly it was exciting to have him in it, and he looked great. He did all the things you want Dr. Fate to be in.
Well, I mean,
he didn't mention Naboo in the movie.
No, he doesn't, which meant that he must have just done his research because he's an actor.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a magic lover, so I really did. I enjoyed having Dr.
It was cool.
And
it was
I
just
was
neat.
like, I just found myself actually wanting more of that, but I think that's just my desire for magic.
Exactly. Nikki T. They straight up call him Carter Hall. He's listed as Carter Hall in the Resurrection.
He's listed as Carter Hall, the Resurrection one.
Okay.
When I looked at IMDb, I just saw Hall, and I literally couldn't remember if in the credits they mentioned Carter Hall specifically because there have been several Halls. But I thought that was funny that Hector Hall is the one that's actually been Dr. Fate.
Right.
But whatever. That's the closest we're gonna get. That means someone either someone did some research or no one did, and it was an accident.
I think it might have been an accident. Brian T. Brawler, I appreciate you trying to review this movie honestly and objectively. I mean, that's the only way we're going to do it.
No, we try. Like, you know what though? Like in the past, we've got let our own passions maybe get a little strong.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Things, but like I was like, you know what? Let's look at this differently.
Yeah. He also mentioned I fell asleep while watching Morbius, but I have narcolepsy.
Oh.
Well,
I don't have that.
Listen, that's
and
just
I
more.
Still did.
That may be just Morbius' effect. Just some by the guy with the mustache. You know what the funniest part was? This is a better live action DBZ movie than the actual live action DBZ movie. I still have an ulcer from that one. Yeah, I didn't see it, but I saw enough of it to go like, okay, well, I'm not going to see that. Girk Peck I'm so glad Rock has his POS franchise so he can't ruin Shazam with his whiny contracts where he has to hit people equal amounts of time as he gets hit. And I was like really sad because I was like, man, they built an actual Shazam franchise. It'd be cool to see them fight since they're the literal actual villain.
That said, like if like they decide to try to use Black Adam and other DC properties. I do not envy
the lawyer / like contract negotiator
or producers or anything like that of trying to balance that out.
Yeah, I don't want to see him fight Superman ever again, like ever, because I don't want that nonsense. I don't want that Fast and Furious fucking bullshit in my in other movies that I actually watch.
Yeah.
Ray Farr, do you like The Descent 2 though? Fart? Hell no, she does not like The Descent 2 at all.
No, she doesn't. That movie makes me mad.
Yeah, that movie ruins everything.
Mad.
But
for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, that's true.
There we go. That's my own podcast. Tiffany gets mad over The Descent 2.
Yeah. Girk Pectus, Fate was crap. Strange bootleg could have copied Inju. I don't know what that means, but he was not crap. It was fun. Did he do Doctor Strangey stuff? Yeah. What else are you gonna do?
Sure.
He's Dr. Fate. He has nothing to do. He's a character everybody forgets about.
Yeah, no, I will say, like, initially when he starts like whizzing around him and he's
and he made
like,
the multiples, I'm like, oh hey.
No, when he's doing like what looks like mirrors, and
yes.
I was like,
mirror dimension, really?
I was like, but then when he transports him back to like his place, I was like, I really kind of like,
it's kind of fun
quite a bit. Like I was like, that was clever. That was a clever moment.
Yeah.
And then just have Hawkman come out of nowhere.
Oh my god,
like,
yeah.
I was like, that was pretty good. It was a good move.
Lee Allen says, Tiffany, are you a fan of Elric?
So I don't know which Elric you're referring to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna need a little more on that one.
Yeah.
Because there's many in Elric.
ComicPop Scares. I love that idea for a channel. We want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. Listen, Chris from Comic Tropes is live on Pros and Cons. Word Balloon's going to be interviewing Philip Kennedy Johnston in about an hour.
Hey.
So you got plenty of other live comic book content to enjoy. If you still want to keep this gravy train rolling, or you could subscribe to this channel, click the bell for notifications, and watch the rest of the stuff that's happening here on this channel.
Sorry, if you mean the Full Metal Alchemist Elric.
Yes, she does. But yeah, make sure to watch more. Of course, check out back issues and more stuff here. Follow Tiffany on twitch.tv/ComicPop, and we'll see you guys next time with another episode of Off the Rack. We want to thank you all for being here, and especially thanks to our super chatters for sponsoring today's show. See you guys next time. So long, everybody.
Bye.